Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the OK Show, Saturday edition. We are live streaming right now on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Iceman.
Get them out to the south, Rod Rodriguez. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, but it's a little bit different. What's wrong? Are you using a different device? Is it a computer? Is it a
Hold on.
pad?
Let me check. Let me check.
I can hear you loud and
Um,
clear, but it's just really
Mike,
loud.
it's really loud.
No, well, it's not really loud, but it's louder than usual.
Okay, hold on. Maybe it's the volume of your headphones.
Well,
I'm using the same mic. I don't know if I did anything. Hold on. I just have like echo cancellation checked, so I don't know if that
all
did
right,
it.
okay, that's
But
fine.
anyways,
All right.
it doesn't matter. We got a show as long as you can hear me.
Okay, so tonight we're talking about do you
Funny
believe
stuff,
in
right?
fate or free will? No, I changed
I
it.
thought we were gonna. Oh, God.
I changed it. I was thinking about should be a little bit serious on a weekend. Because we usually do the light stuff on Monday, right? Like Monday nights. And I was like, "Oh, it's a weekend. We need people to think. We need people to, um get into
We
the
can't. We can't.
grind."
There are too many dumb people in the world already, right? We gotta smarten them up. Oh my
Right. I
gosh.
mean,
I was like in my comedy mode too. I was like, I'm ready. Comedy time.
all right. Okay, well, we can stick with that. We can
No, no,
stick
no,
with
no.
the
Let's do the thing. I mean,
It was a
I was
spur of
looking
the
at.
moment thing. I was driving, coming home from the game, and I was thinking, should we talk about the funny stuff, or that's usually a Monday thing. I was like, let's do a Saturday, like a
life or
Saturday
life or
topic,
death decisions, huh?
yeah.
Super, you know, super serious stuff to think about.
Something that would
I
stress
mean,
people out. Too
yeah.
philosophical. Holy
Yeah,
crap!
for people wondering what we're talking about, we were supposed to our topic was supposed to be about like Pinoy movies, Pinoy funny movies. So,
Should we stick
like
with it?
just
Well, we could
no, no,
change
no.
it. It's, I
No,
mean,
no, no, no. Let's do the thing that you're. I mean, the Pinoy funny movies or comedies. We talk about that stuff anyways, even if it's not a topic. I mean, it's always like part
right,
of our conversation.
right,
We always end up talking
right.
about it. I mean, yeah, I know you keep talking about Andrew E. and like it's certain scenes in his movies. Like I think when the mirror cracked or something, or um, I recall you like I'm not sure which comedy movie it was, but that Andrew E. scene.
Mhm.
Oh no 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 no
No,
no
no,
no! The
no, no,
scene
no,
where
no, no.
he was
The
smelling his breath. He was smelling his breath,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So yeah. The other, like, his reflection just collapsed. Yeah, lost
Just
consciousness
you
because of the
you
breath.
just saying that it's funny already.
Right?
I
Yeah.
mean,
Brushing his teeth.
it
I don't know. He
reminds me
didn't
of
brush his
the
teeth. He was just like, "Really? Do I have bad breath?" And he's just like, and like the reflection was like,
it reminds me of the it reminds me of the Renata Castas movie where he was like looking at the mirror, and I think he was saying like he's really handsome or something, and then like
Mhm.
like thunderstruck or something, and then he he said he was just kidding, and then the mirror broke or something like that. But anyways, we'll talk about comedy some other time. Tonight we're gonna talk about faith. Is that what you said?
Well, do you believe in fate or free will? Which one is it? Yeah, yeah. Fate,
Faith.
fate, fate.
All right. All
So
right.
it's actually
So
fate versus free will.
okay, got it. Got it. So
I mean, most
can you
religious
elaborate?
people that
Like,
I talk to, they always like, well, it's fate. I mean, if God decided for me to be like this, then that's my destiny. That's my fate.
is
I
that
mean,
what
it's
pohon
it's
means?
it's the same
Pohon?
thing. No, it's pohon
Is that what?
is no, no. Pohon is not. I don't think it's pohon. I think pohon is more of like, well, if
Like,
if
don't
it
jinx me or
be if
something?
it be. No, I mean, I don't know. Like, my
Or
understanding
hope
of
it
pohon is like,
happens?
yeah, hopefully it happens.
Like, don't
That's my
jinx it or
understanding of
something like that,
pohon.
right? Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's a singer, right? Richard Pohon. Didn't we host for him? Richard Pohon
The
at
P
Jackie
double O
Ridge.
N. You talking
I
about
think
P
it was like
double N?
I think
That's
it's
Shigeoka. That's different.
Phon. I'm not sure. Richard
No,
Poon.
no, I don't know that guy. I mean, why do you know these
Okay, you don't
guys?
remember. No, no, actually, no. He went solo, but we hosted them, or they performed for one of our events that we hosted at Jack's Ridge. He was part of a group. He was like the singer, guitar player, and there's a woman, and I forgot the name of the group, but there's like three of them or something, and he was the guitarist, and he ended up marrying Maricar Reyes, the actress. But I think you remember the guy. You just don't remember his name because when we hosted them, he wasn't famous yet. He was still part of that.
Well,
Oh
was
my god,
their
what is
group
that group?
famous?
At Jack's Ridge. No, they weren't really that famous, but they were playing like the
And
local
this guy
live
married
scene.
Maricar Reyes?
Yeah, it's like oh my god, what's the name of his group? I'll
He's in a group that's not so famous, and he's a guy that's not so famous, and he married somebody famous, at least in the Philippines, or at least for a lot of men. Maricar Reyes is famous,
I knew
right?
you were gonna say that.
Yeah, of course.
Um, what is the name of that group? He was a member of yeah, he was like he plays jazz, and he was a member of U Turn. That's the name of the
U Turn. I
you
remember U
you remember?
Turn.
There you
What was their
go. He
song?
was
They had a song. What's the
oh
song of the
my
U Turn?
god. I
They had a
know because
song.
we I think we hosted that event at Jack's
We
Ridge. They had
hosted
like
them.
this
We hosted them. I
mini
remember that.
right. That's
They had
there
a
you go. I'm not
song.
crazy.
I just forgot the song. What was the song? Fate as
And
in
Richard
Tadhana. All right, okay,
and
right.
Richard
Later.
Poon he went to
Richard Pohon. All right,
Octane
Richard
after.
Pohon.
Yeah, he
Oh,
went to Octane
I
after.
don't know this guy. I remember U-turn, but I don't know Richard Pohon. It's not even Pohon.
Pohon
It's
is
like
Poon. It's
Pohon.
Poon. It's Poon.
Pohan.
Yeah, we're
Richard
Richard. Don't
Pohan.
get mad, all right? We're playing with you. It's a typical Pinoy comedy. But anyways, so free will or fate, like
Yeah.
um, you you decide on the direction you take, and you're in full control, or you just like let things be and not, you know, not worry too much about like the end result because what's meant to be is meant to be. Is that what you're saying? Is it kind of like that, or can you explain it like in a
No, it's
you
like
know?
fate. Like, oh, it's my destiny to be great. So whatever happens, I would be great no matter what. That's
So
fate,
the
right? Like
question we're
that's
asking is
destiny. So
how
it's
do
like
people
actually
like
destiny or free
live their
will. Do you
lives?
believe in destiny or do you believe in free will?
Okay, got it. What about both?
Like
Like,
no,
what about both? Like,
no,
for example,
they cannot coexist. I already looked it up. It cannot
no.
coexist.
For example, like I have free will, right? And then the end result of my free will is like the destiny.
No. No, it doesn't work that way, man. It doesn't work that way. I looked it up. There's this thing that's called um determinism. So it's kind of like sort of like the cause and effect. It's like what you do causes something. So it's not fate, but it's not free will as well. So it's kind of complicated. It's like this is philosophy
Got
talk
it,
right there. But
got it.
so it's kind
So
of
it's like
complicated.
so so if like let's say if you believe in like destiny, right, or if you believe in fate, so Mark Zuckerberg can just like sit around play video games all day, and he would still end up being like a billionaire because
That
that's
would be
like
fate.
fate,
That would
right?
be
He's
destiny.
like
That would be
he
the
doesn't have to do
idea.
anything,
Yes,
but for
that would
some
be the
reason he
idea of
will
it.
still end up like being super rich
Right.
and be yeah, got it. All right. So whether it was Facebook or maybe something else, like that's fate. But if it's free will, then you can't predetermine anything.
No, yes. Because you have free will. You can, it's not, yeah, you can never, I mean, anything can happen at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You can like you can go
That's
to
free
college
will.
for like you can go to med school and like you only need like 3 units and then you stop
Yeah, that's
because you
free
decided
will.
to do it. Because you decided to
Yeah,
do it, right? Like you
because you can
literally
do
like
it.
what
Like
yeah,
I
like
can
one
walk out
credit
right
away.
now and not finish my
Med
medical
school.
degree.
Yeah.
That's free will right there. Like I can do it right now. Like I can walk away from that, and that's just it. Like I'll call it
So
quits.
so we're only discussing things that we have participation in. Like for example, um you being born, you had no control of that. So it starts at a point where you start to have control, right?
But
Like if you choose
basically,
free will,
yes.
right? If you choose free will, because like for
Right.
example, if you're 10 years old and you have free will, you still can't really decide on your own or for yourself because your parents are gonna, yeah, there's a stronger authority above you, where free will is kind of like pointless at that age. So I guess free will, um, I would probably start saying, if I chose free will, it would probably take into effect at around, maybe when I was like 19, 20 years old, where, yeah, the decisions I
Yeah, I
made
think at that point, right?
were
I mean,
right, or like,
at age 10, you're not really concerned about free will and
no.
fate. I don't think you're thinking about these things. Your primary concern is to have food on the table,
Hey,
to play the games that you
CJ's
want to.
15, and CJ's 15, and he's tuned in. So that's not very
Well,
far
yeah,
from
but
10.
CJ is like 15. 15 is already a teenager, and you already have a free will at that point. Because no matter
Got
how
it, got it,
hard your parents will talk you into going to school, you can always not go to school. I know
got it.
people who did that. They would skip class, they would cut class, and even
You
if
did
they're
it.
dragged
You didn't
literally
show up for
into
like you
school.
didn't show up for
Yeah, I
months.
did that. I did that. That was like, that was me just doing my free will right there. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go to school. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Then at that
Yeah,
point, it was decided that I should go to a different school, and if I don't straighten out, then I would have to quit school for good. That was the deal. Like, all right, I'll enroll you in a private school because that's what I was asking for. Like, I want to be in a private school. Like, I'm not strong enough to be in a public school system. So I was like, Dad, come on, I'm so weak. Just move me to a private school. And he did, and it was like, all right, I'll put you in a private school, but if you do not straighten out, if you do not get into the honors list in the first
you're
grading,
back.
you're out.
Yeah, you're back to
Not
Balagtas
out.
Elementary School.
No, not
You're back.
even back to public school. No, like you're just gonna quit school. You're just gonna find a job and or
You're gonna be
whatever.
OSY. You'll be OSY.
Yeah, out of school youth. Out of school youth. That would be my that would be my destiny, so to speak. But
Your fate.
so yeah, that
Okay,
would be
all
my
right. So,
fate.
okay, what if everything you do out of free will, whatever that result may be, can you just easily also claim it to be destiny? I mean, like when somebody says it's fate, right? They're still like doing something. They're not like just sitting there and like, oh, my wife will fall on my lap, and that will be my destiny. Fate is more of like not giving credit fully to yourself and your actions and your decisions. It's like, you're probably leaning more towards like, okay, I'll do this much, but if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Whereas with people who truly believe in free will, and that they have accountability for their actions, they really work their butts off. They don't leave a stone unturned. They really want to be in full control of the direction and the path that their lives take. And I know people were like that, and I think you bring up a good point, is that there are people that kind of like live on more like, yeah, I'll just chill, whatever happens happens. And there are those who are warriors. There are those who really carve a path to where they want to go, and because they don't want to leave it to chance. Whereas people like myself, maybe people like Chuck or whatever, we're not really super, um, anal about where we should be at this age or at this point in our lives. And I don't know if that's a mindset or if that's part of your personality or if it's the upbringing or if it's the comforts or lack thereof that you're presented. Like for example, kung mahirap yung buhay mo, lumaki ka sa hirap, of course, you're highly unlikely that you'll be saying, "Well, whatever happens, happens." You can't really slack off and take things lightly. If you don't work your butt off, you go hungry. Whereas there are people who have options, so they kind of like know that even if they don't really, pursue things, they're not really going to suffer that much in the end, or at least they assume that to be. So, all right. What about you? So, what are you? Which one are you? The fate guy, the free will guy?
Free will,
Just
of
to get the ball
course.
rolling, then we'll ask the other guys. All right, free will. Um, I don't know. Mine's like yo-yo. Like there are times where it's like, yeah, it's my decision. I did this. I whatever. But it's hard to make decisions on things that you have no full control over. Like going to school, that's your decision, if you go to school or not. But like for example, getting married, I can't fully like say, okay, I'm gonna get married for sure. Or what if I find the one that I want, but I'm not the one for her? Or what if I can't say I'm gonna have kids, right? Because I wouldn't know if I could have kids until I have kids. What if I'm married to a woman who can't have babies, or what if I can't have babies myself or whatever. So there are things that I think I can't really say, okay, it's my decision when it comes to my future or where I'm going to be at this point in my life. There are certain things that you kind of have to leave to fate, if that's for lack of a better term, maybe because you have no control over it. So you just say, okay, I'll leave it to fate, you know, um, because you have no control over it. Like, for example, having a kid in the future, did you know that you're going to have snow at this point in your life? I mean, you're a free will guy, but back in the day, the things that you were
No, I didn't
doing.
plan it. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't plan it. All right. But it wasn't like I wasn't fucking. You know what I'm saying? So of course I will have a kid if you know what I'm saying. So it's not like, oh, it's fate because I had a kid. No, because I was I'm okay if I have a kid, and I would be okay if I don't have a kid. Whatever happens, I'm fine with it. I'll
Is
do
that
what I
even
do.
counted? I mean, is it even fair to include that in the conversation? Things like that, like being a parent, or
Well, I
like being
didn't plan, but
healthy.
oh, yeah,
Like,
well,
for
of course.
example,
I
like,
mean, being healthy is a choice. I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah, I know,
eating
but I mean,
pork every day,
I
taba
know, I
every day.
know,
I mean, that's
but
your
dude,
choice.
I know people who are like freaking super healthy and super conscious about what they eat and whatever, and then they get cancer, or they get whatever, like
But
some
that's not
random
fate. That's their
sickness, or
genes. Probably, it's probably
COVID,
genes.
or whatever, right? I mean, I know,
Yeah.
but still,
Where
it's
did they
like you
get
have no.
COVID? Did they go to a
I,
particular place?
so
If
that's
they
what I'm
didn't
saying.
go
It's like,
there, they
so there
wouldn't.
are
They
certain
wouldn't get it.
things, but
Nobody
they
told
wouldn't
them to
know
go
though.
there.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know. It's not like you go to a place and it says there's COVID here. I mean, you wouldn't know, right? That's the thing with COVID. It's like you wouldn't
Yeah, but
know.
that's not.
So
But that's not really fate. That's like you decided to
okay,
go
so we're
there.
not
That's why you
including
got
those.
it.
So there are
No, I
certain
mean,
things that's not
but that's
included
not
in the
really fate. Like,
conversation
okay,
where
right.
no, but you know what I'm saying? It's
Mm.
like there's certain things that we have no control over, so we can't really like kind of include that. We It's not fair to include that because like someone might dispute your claim that okay, I'm a free will guy. I'm like, really? Well, did you think this up or did you plan this out or so obviously there are things that not 100% your control, but let's just talk about like more of a general mindset. So your mindset is more of a free will guy. I'm like I said, I'm yo-yo because there are experiences in my life where like I say that's 100% free will. I decided to stay here in the Philippines when my whole family is
All right.
in the
See.
US. That's free will. I decided.
Mm.
Which me ended up with my wife now and the family that I
Right.
have and the kids that I
Don't tell
have.
me you didn't decide to marry your wife.
So that's
Somebody decided
okay,
for you.
so that's actually free will, right?
Yeah, because you decided to marry
So
her. You chose her. It's not like I told you to like, hey, I have a friend. You want to marry her? I didn't tell you that. You
no,
just
no,
like
no. Yeah,
asked me like, dude, are you with that girl?
I
Like, no, I'm not. Are
I
you
know I
making a move with that
proposed.
girl? No, I'm not making
I
a move with that
proposed,
girl.
but she said, but she could have said no. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like she still could have said no, right?
Yeah, she could
I
have said
mean,
no, but then she decided to marry you. But the thing is, that's her free will as well. And you
okay.
asked her on your free will, so that's well, I don't know. Like, would
I'm
you
just messing
just
it. I'm just making it complicated, man. But the bottom
right?
line here is we get it. We get it. All right. We get what free will is. We get what fate is. All right. So we want to ask people, what's your what's your general mindset?
Right. Do you know the
And
story of
why?
Oedipus? Like, how do you say his name? Oedipus? Oedipus? You know the
Oedipus
story
Rex.
of
Like, is it the one in love with the mom? Is that the one? Or
yeah?
the
Do you know the story? Do you know the story of
of
that mythology? Is it a
yeah, like
mythology?
he's
It's a
horny for his
mythology,
mom or
right?
something?
It's like, well, it's because this is
Oedipus
philosophy
Rex,
stuff,
right? It's a book, Oedipus Rex. Yeah,
right? So, do you know the story of this Oedipus guy?
I not really know. I didn't read
All
that
right. So
book.
the story is um, Oedipus's parents, right? The father, it was how would you say? It was it foretold or was it predicted? I don't know. It was like sort of like all right. It was how do you say that like um
It's like written in
uh
stone.
no no
It
no
was
like
it was a
prophet
God
like prophecy. It was prophesied,
prophecy. I was gonna say
right?
prodigy. Yeah, prophecy.
Like
Yeah, it was
prophesied. All
yeah
right. So it was
yeah yeah.
prophesied that Oedipus would kill his father. And
Mm-hmm.
when he was born, it was prophesied that that boy would kill his father and would marry his mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he was born, right, that was the
Kind of like
prophecy.
Kung Fu Panda, right? Kung Fu Panda 2 or 3, where
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah yeah.
this is like one of those mindfuck stuff, right? So that was the prophecy. So when he was born, it was prophesied that okay, that boy will kill his father and marry his mother. So the father was so paranoid. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna leave this kid to die in the woods, right? So he
That
did that.
messed with him. That messed
Yeah.
with him. Yeah,
All right.
messed him
So
up.
all right. So the father took that boy in the woods, left him to
Mm-hmm.
die, thinking that he would
Yeah,
actually die.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
tigers or bears or whatever, would find the
yeah,
boy and just like eat it or whatever. But then
yeah.
that didn't happen. A
It's fate.
couple found the baby.
Yeah,
The couple found the baby and they
yeah.
adopted Oedipus, right? So
Are you sure
Oedipus,
this is not the baby Moses Prince of Persia kind of
no, no, no,
story?
no. So
It's
got
almost though, right?
adopted, got
Yeah.
adopted. Then the boy, Oedipus, found out about the prophecy. So what he did was he ran away from his adoptive parents because he
Mm-hmm.
thought they were his real parents because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. He didn't know that he was adopted. So he just
Yeah.
ran away from his adoptive parents, ran away,
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere along the way he killed somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out
Mm-hmm.
of rage, he
Mm-hmm.
killed that person, and that person was actually his father, right?
So there you go. Yeah.
This was like a shortcut. Like I don't know the real details. So it's just like watch it on YouTube. It's like really, like a short video clip. So, long story short, Oedipus killed somebody out of rage while he
And it
was
was a
running
dad.
away from his adoptive parents, and that was his actual father, like his real father. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually he married the wife of that man, which
Mm-hmm.
is his mother,
His
but he
mom.
didn't know about it.
Yeah.
He didn't know about it. So that's a story of
Yeah.
fate. So
Okay.
that was like, oh, that's fate. There's no escaping it. Like, see,
Yeah.
like even if the father tried to did something, the prophecy was, but then the comments were like
Actually,
so
if the
funny because
actually if the father didn't do that, it probably wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I know. So here,
So
see,
it messed him
like
up.
the
It messed
comments
him
are
up.
like, dude, they're just like, well, they're precious, all right. Like, see, if Oedipus had a talk with his adopted parents, the entire story wouldn't have happened. That's why communication is important, kids. Every decision in your life has lead you. Every decision in your life has lead to you reading this comment. Oh, what's this? Why doesn't Oedipus like to curse? Oh my god.
The moral of that story is if you see a young man who looks pissed off, get the heck out of the way because that might be your son and it might kill you. He probably just got in the way of the guy. He's like, and he was so filled with rage. But anyways, all right. So are we gonna talk about advantages of like fate or free will, and or why you are you're more free will than fate, or you're
Yeah,
more
but
fate
that's
than
what
free will?
philosophy does, right? It messes with your mind. Because I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
free
yeah,
will, you're not really free. No one's free.
yeah,
You think you're
yeah,
free? It's
yeah.
like watching the movie Matrix. It
Matrix.
messes with
Yeah,
you.
exactly. There you go. See. Okay, so
Maybe I'll
personally,
just I'll just go with free will.
I don't really, I'm not a big fan of people who are like leaving it to fate. Everything's leaving it up to fate. Like you could call them religious, you could call them like, delusional, you could call them like, imaginative, but there are a lot of people that, put things in the hands of whether it's a god or whatever. I mean, hey, it's up to them, right? You got to respect that. But if you like 100% living your life like that, like everything that happens, it's like, oh, it's the will of whatever, or oh, it's meant to happen, or oh, it's. I mean, I'm like, really, like what you said. Like I decided to stay here. That's why I ended up marrying the woman that I married, and that's my free will. It's it wasn't like I wanted to go to the States and then, something happened that I got stuck here. I got left behind. So then I ended up finding a woman. Then maybe that would be like what you said. That would be kind of like more on fate. So what I'm saying is with the people that I hang out with and the people that I usually find more interesting and have more interesting conversations with, it's people who are free will people. Obviously you, like for example, you. Whenever I sit around with people who are kind of living in a fantasy world, where it seems like everything that's happening to them is like a blessing or whatever, there's no clear cut explanation for it or logic behind it. I really don't, I'm not a big fan of conversations with people like that. Because it's like, what are you trying to tell me? Like you just wake up in the morning and say a chant or wear a pendant or turn around 3 times, and all of a sudden blessings will be poured upon you or whatever. I mean, I don't buy that stuff. I mean, I don't know if that's what you meant by people who are more into fate, right? I mean, give me an example. Do you have a friend who's more fate than free will? I think I'm. What am I? What do you think? What kind of a person do you think I am? More free will, or more fate?
I think you're a free will guy.
Yeah, but you see, I don't trust my decision making. You know what I'm saying? That's why.
Well,
That's
yeah, you
why
don't
I'm
trust
like,
your
I'm
decision
not as
making, but
strong
still
as
you make those
my
decisions.
conviction is not as strong as you. You're like, you me. It's like I don't trust my decision making 100%. It's like I'm
But you
always
still
trying
make
to.
decisions. No one's making decisions for you. You're the one making your decisions. You just don't trust them, but still you're making those decisions,
That's a
right?
good
You're not
point.
just sitting
I,
down there and just, you know, and you're just telling yourself that, all right, everything's gonna. Well, yeah, you're saying that like, well, things are gonna work out, but it's not like, no, I'm destined to be like this. So whatever happens, I will get it. You know what I'm saying? You're not
yeah,
doing that. You're just, that you can be chill at the same time you believe in free will. You don't have to be
yeah,
very, you know, toxic about it.
yeah.
All right.
Gotcha. So like if you're working a 9 to 5 job, right? And you're complaining and whining about it, it was your free will to work that job. It was your free. So you know what I'm saying? It's like when people are stuck in a rut or in a situation where they decided to be in and then they complain about it. I don't that I kind of, well, I mean, I get it. I complained about it too, but what I'm saying is that's free will, right? You decided to apply for that job
It
and now you're in
is.
that job and now you hate
I
the
think it
job,
is.
right? It's free will, right? So
Um,
why
it's
am
just
I
like,
like what Julia said?
okay,
Like what
why
Julia
am I
said. Why
busting
am
my
I
ass
busting?
working if I'm destined to be poor
Yeah,
anyways?
see there. Okay.
Right.
That's that's like free will and fate put together, right?
Mm.
He's like his free will tells him to work so that he can be, successful and lift himself up from poverty. But at the same time, he has this thing inside him that kind of still believes or assumes that it's all for naught. That he's just not gonna end up, reaching that stage or that state in society. But I don't know, man. I mean, you think it works if you have an idea and you put it in your head, even if you're not necessarily acting upon it. Like him, like what Julius is saying. I mean, Julius, you're working, you have a job, you're earning, but you're kind of not too optimistic about it.
No,
That's
I mean,
that, right?
that's why he's saying that he's a free will guy, because why will he be busting his ass working if, you know if he's destined to be poor? So he doesn't believe that he's going to be poor the whole time. That at some point, he, I mean, if he keeps on working, then it can go somewhere. He can get somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
Julius, why do you say that you're destined to be poor? I mean, if you come from being poor, that's one thing. But if you're saying you're headed towards being poor, that's another. But working usually doesn't lead to being poor. Working usually leads to you at least being able to support yourself. But then again, most of the people here in the Philippines don't have savings, and we're spending more than we're earning. So I guess we're all poor. You think about it.
All right,
Just
but it's
depends on
not
how you
just in the
define it.
Philippines now. I mean, if you even in America, there are a lot of people who
They
are living
they
from
live on
paycheck to
credit.
paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah, they live on credit.
So
Yeah,
they're
rent to
living
rent.
from
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck. So it's not just the Philippines, actually. So yeah, but that doesn't mean that you should stop working. It's an excuse for lazy people. Yeah, some people. Yeah, some people are actually using that as an excuse because they're too lazy. They would just say that, all right, I know that one time my grandmother said that I am going to be rich, and yeah, I'm gonna be rich. That's what my grandmother said. I'm destined to be rich. So yeah, I'm just not gonna work. I'm just gonna, that money will come. I don't know how, I don't know when, but yeah, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna be rich. That that's believing in destiny or fate. Like, yeah, that's my fate. It will come. I don't know
What
when. I
about
don't know how
what about
or
people who like
why.
invest in this get rich schemes or like are addicted to online sabong and stuff? I mean, like they have gambling tendencies.
That's
Like they
free
don't
will too.
necessarily they don't try
That's
to
free will too.
earn yeah, they don't try to earn money or acquire wealth like through the traditional like grind it out way where you get a job and you work and you earn and you save, and they just kind of want to try their luck. Like, okay, if I'm destined to be a millionaire, this is my opportunity. I'm gonna bet on this rooster or this cock or whatever, and I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'll buy this lottery ticket, and I'm gonna like,
Mm.
I'm gonna hit it big, and I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have the biggest jackpot winning in the lottery. Uh, there are people who are like that. They leave it to fate. But I don't think they're that serious about it. Like for example, if I buy a lottery ticket, I'm not like saying, babe, hey, babe, prepare to celebrate. We're gonna win. Hey, prepare to go on vacation. We're going to Paris. I'm not that serious about it. That's more. But there are people who are super serious about stuff like that. Like they really don't have a job and they literally just like try to take chances and hopefully they'll strike it big. But like I said, sometimes it doesn't happen. And sometimes one person will just buy one lottery ticket, the first time he'll ever buy a lottery ticket in his life, and then he'll hit it big. Now, I think that's more fate rather than that guy who keeps buying the lottery tickets and like has never won a thing in his life. But either way, Gabby says, imagine how messed up the baby would be if you'll impregnate your mother.
Right.
Yeah, but again,
Terrible.
think about this, Gab. If you impregnate your mother, you're actually the father and the brother at the same time. Your
True.
son is also your brother. I mean, that's messed up. You know what I'm
See,
saying?
that's the thing. Who came up with these stories? I mean, the Greeks? Man, why would they come up with these stories? You know what I'm saying? It messes with people. It doesn't help,
I
right?
mean, here's the thing: if you're gonna go to bed with your mom, at least practice safe sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't impregnate her. Jeez, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like do it, but I'm just saying like if you're gonna
It
be
was a
that bad
short
and do
video
something like
clip,
that,
but that kind of triggered some of my mental health issues. I was just like, what the
there,
heck?
there's another one. See, it's the female equivalent of the Oedipus complex. I forgot the term. It's like when the daughter is like in love with the dad, but it's not like I don't think it's sexual. I think it's more of like the dad is like the ideal. Uh, I know somebody out there knows what it is. The like
It's like
the
Jon
female
Snow having a
equivalent.
kid with Daenerys Targaryen. Is that what it is? No?
Man, I stopped following Game of Thrones like after season 2 or something, but I know that it's kind of like Electra complex. Yes, thank you, John. The Electra complex. That's the
Wow.
female equivalent of the Oedipus complex. The Electra complex. So there is such a thing.
What's the
It's
Electra complex? Enlighten me.
John. Can you
The
enlighten
only
us? Is
Electra
it
I know was the one with the sigh.
Daredevil? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Daredevil's chick.
But this is not the
Yeah,
Electra, right? This is a different Electra we're talking about here.
probably she's called Electra because there's a connection to that. Maybe she's also has issues with her dad. I really don't know about the background story of Electra,
And
the
who the
Marvel
heck is
character.
Kang? This is why Kang created TVA.
Is this like some Japanese like taboos thing?
No,
I'm thinking
TVA is from Marvel. Which one is it? Loki. TVA is from that show Loki. Who's
oh
Kang
yeah,
over?
Kang
Like,
is like one of the bad guys. He's like the enemy of the Avengers. He wears like a mask and he's kind of like from I don't know if he's from another planet.
all right, okay,
Um I'm not a doctor, but cancer can also be acquired like lung cancer. True
yeah,
that.
lung
But there are
cancer,
people who are more at risk. But there are
colon
people more at
cancer.
risk, right? They're more at risk. I know people who've been smoking all their lives and they like, they never. So I think it also, like what I said, your genes can also contribute to that. Is reaching your potential constitute destiny or executing your free will? Now we're talking. Okay, is reaching your potential constitute destiny or executing your free will? We'll always say this person is destined to be something, but then there is a hint of hard work to it. Okay, I'll give you an example. This is just something that I think about. YouTubers, right? YouTubers. If you go out and make a YouTube channel, now I watch YouTube a lot. Like I don't have cable TV. I don't have any other form of broadcast media except for YouTube. So I watch a lot of YouTube and I've seen a lot of creators and their channels and their content. And there are a lot of brilliant content, but they have like 10,000 subscribers. And there'd be like a little kid who keeps saying, Linda, Linda, wait, Linda, but wait, Linda, 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 but wait. And he's got like 20 million views or 2 million subscribers. So what is that? Obviously the other guy with 10,000 subscribers has exerted way more effort. His channel is way more better quality than the 2 million subscriber one. But for some reason, the other one got the 2 million subscribers, and the other one can't seem to get over the 10,000 subscriber hump, despite the fact that his content is superior to the other. It's like, obviously superior to the other. So what is that, luck? Are people just stupid and just like prefer to watch that other one? Because that person who created that 2 million subscriber channel, when he did that, had no idea he was going to get 2 million. It was the guy who hustled but only ended up with 10,000. That's the guy who actually was planning to get the big following. And I see that a lot on YouTube. There are a lot of YouTube content creators who are like really brilliant with their editing, really good content, but man, they can't seem to get, the silver play button. And I see a lot of content creators who are just like literally just goofing off.
Yeah,
And
well, people like what they like. You can't tell people what to like, right? I
I know, but it's
mean,
not about that. It's about like how, you know what I'm saying. It's like there is no formula for success. There's no clear cut formula for success. It's not like if the guy does the same thing as
yeah,
the other
but
guy
but
did, he's also gonna get 2 million. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but
It's
because
it's
I
like
mean that's what he's doing. Like whatever that person is doing. I mean, whoever you're talking about. I mean, getting these 2 million subscribers, right? So, well, those 2 million subscribers like him. I mean, we can't do anything about it. They like him.
yeah, yeah.
It's like a recording artist, right? Okay, let's say all right, let's pick a hit song like Macarena,
Psy,
right?
Psy, Gangnam Style. I mean,
All
it's
right, yeah,
right.
okay, whatever, yeah, right.
We don't
So,
we don't even understand it.
but there are a lot of people who like it. I mean, you can't tell them don't like it, right? So, I mean, you can tell that, yeah, right. So maybe John, Paul, George, and Ringo can. Well, yeah, well, that's the Beatles. So, okay, let's say talented people. Pick a band because you're into bands. Me, I just like what I
Kurt
like.
Cobain,
I'm like, okay, Kurt
Nirvana.
Cobain's brilliant, right? So Nirvana's brilliant. But then you can't just, well, why do they like Psy over Nirvana? Like, whatever. Like, there are people who are hardcore Nirvana fans, right? So it's just, well, that's marketing, and that's just the way it is. Like, people like what they like. It's not about your hard work. It's not about the quality of, I mean, clearly it's not. It's just that's what people wants to watch, or I don't know, wants to subscribe to, and you can't force them
Because
to.
like Patrick mentions, like, reaching your potential, like your let's say your full potential. What is the measure of you reaching your full potential? Is it you attaining a certain level of like knowledge or ability,
Well,
or
it depends
is it
upon
is it
you.
is it the following, or is it the fame that comes with it? Like, for
Well, it
example,
depends on the person. It depends on
is
the
Slash
person.
still as good a guitar player as we think of him to be? If Guns N' Roses wasn't a popular band, if he was just playing at, like this little bar down the street, I mean, would we, put him on a pedestal? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you reach your full potential, it's like, what
Okay,
is
here's the
the
thing: reaching your full potential requires a lot of, like, for example, you're talking about Slash. Slash probably sacrificed a lot of stuff before reaching there, right? It's not like he just became Slash overnight. I mean, if you look at his life, probably, series of events led to where he was at that point when he was so popular, right? Like, for example, John.
Mhm.
John's a really, really brilliant guitarist. Like, he's really good. Like, yeah, he can play the guitar, man. But then
Yeah. But I
he
know a
has
lot
his
of guys who like get
priorities,
the spotlight who can't play near as well as Jong.
right? But then John is a family man. He has his priorities and whatnot. He could have ventured. He could have went to Manila. He could have stayed there, and just like, you know, played it out. Waited out. Whatever. I go hungry. I go hungry. I'll wait for that time. I'll get it soon. That's what people like. Okay, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. His story was before Dave Chappelle. Now he told us stories about, like, well, this is the money that I had at that time was what, like $60 in the bank, right? So, but that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a comedian. Then he waited it out, Then eventually he became who he is right now. He even walked away from a $50 million deal. He did that. It was just like, no, I'm just gonna walk away from that. I don't need that. Right? Then he came back and he came
Mm-hmm.
back strong. Now he's got a lot of money too. So that's just the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just a lot of things that you can't explain. But that doesn't really mean it's. I mean, for me, that's still free will. Like you do what you do. But then
What
if you're
about us?
talking about like
Well,
but
like what
but
about
the
our show,
potential,
like our show
okay, the potential
or
part
our radio
is,
careers?
well, I could have decided
I
to
mean,
go to
like,
Manila, but I didn't.
I,
You know what I'm saying? We could have.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You were
So
offered to
do
go
you
to
feel like
Manila.
we did? Do you feel like we didn't reach our full potential? I mean, like, because I don't know what we are basing that on. Like, what I'm saying, for example, as broadcasters, what are we basing the full potential on? Like, are we reaching Ryan Seacrest's level of popularity or Mo Twister? What level of popularity are we talking about here? Ted Filon. I mean, it's like, what is the what is the standard? Because like full potential is it's like up to the extent of what you can do. I think we can do more. I personally think,
Yes, we
given
can. We could
right,
have.
right,
We could have.
but
But
we
at that point, it wasn't. It wasn't going our way, right? Because a lot of things happened, and I decided to leave. And um, what else? Like in your case, you were offered to. I think you were offered to go to Manila as well, right?
yeah,
Were you offered a
I
Manila
I
position?
I yeah, I did get that offer. We most of us got offered, but we all
I know.
turned it
Okay,
down.
all right.
I think
Okay, it was
you get the
who
offer
wants
and
to go to
turn it down.
Manila, right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah,
offered to the station, like who wants to go there, and
yeah.
it was sort of like you can
And
apply, and
we're like nobody.
nobody wanted to go there. So it's like, well, you that means you no, you didn't want it. I didn't want it.
Yeah,
Joe didn't
yeah,
want it, right? So
yeah.
it's. I think that's just, and the basis for your um. I mean, you're asking if how can you say that you've reached your full potential? It depends on the person. What's your basis for saying that you actually reach your full potential? It's up to you. You
So
don't
it's
have to
not
be
for someone else to
successful.
say. So
Like
it's
for
not for
example,
someone
okay,
else to say.
John, he doesn't have to be really famous, or he doesn't need to be in a good band, or in a popular band, or in a famous band, to be able to say that he's a brilliant guitarist. Like no, regardless of him being in a band or not, you cannot discount his talent as a guitar player, right? He just decided, like, well,
Mhm.
I'm a good guitar player, and I'm happy with it. I don't need to be on stage and be playing, to be rocking every night. No, I don't want it. But that doesn't discount the fact that you know he's still learning, even though he's so good. But it's still, like, he's still honing his skills, and
Yeah.
that's just one of that's just one of the things that you do to tell yourself that, yeah, I'm still doing what I do best. And I think, yeah, but I think I'm at that point that I'm actually maybe at my full potential, or maybe on my way to be,
He can't play the
to
guitar any faster. Like that's
right.
it.
I mean, yeah,
He's reached maximum speed. I mean, but we're talking about the arts here. Like for example, dancing, singing, guitar playing. Those are things that bring the person, the performer, him or herself, a certain level of satisfaction and joy. It's not just for the audience. It's like if I play the guitar, I get high just playing it in the living room by myself, just
right,
doing the solo, whether it's good or not. I get that satisfaction. I'm able to release good good what is it called, endorphins or whatever, by playing it. And that's and I think that's different when you talk about the arts, because potential, when you talk about the arts, it's relative to the satisfaction that the artist, um you know the level of satisfaction that they reach or attain in their performance, not necessarily based on a certain standard. But when you talk about, let's say, intelligence, right? Or bright yung bata naging tambay lang. I mean, he's not necessarily artistic or athletic or skillful in anything, but he is intelligent in terms of, academics and good memorization skills. But he was not able to apply that, because I mean, how do you say he's reached his potential? He sits around in the room like reciting formulas, or doing math by himself. So obviously, the potential there is like if he succeeds in a career where he applies his intellect. as compared to like Jong being a guitar player, where he can still succeed even if he does not have, you know, the accolades to show for, because he himself knows that he is a superior guitar player. He just decided not to, show it off or whatever. But a person who's intelligent and an intellect, I mean, I would say, yeah, that's kind of like a wasted potential if you're super smart and it's like you decided to be a bum. Um, because that requires you to have a career for you to actually reach your potential. It's not just
Right.
like you know
But then
everything, right?
then again, the person has to decide for himself if he wants that career or not.
That's true.
Because it's really up to you. Like for example, with Jong, well, he could have chosen that path. I'm just gonna be a guitarist. Whatever happens, I will find my way into a band or whatever, to be in a popular band or to be in a promising band, and that band would be famous, and I will be famous, and I will be able to share my talent to the whole world. But well,
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah,
I mean, I'm not Jong. Clearly, Jong
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
take that path because if he did,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see him on TV and playing the guitar. But clearly,
yeah.
he didn't take that path, right?
Well, I think he reached his potential when he performed at the Wish Bus. When he performed at the Wish Bus, that's like, you know, that's where
Yeah.
everybody
See,
performed. I
right. And
mean,
I would, and
you know,
me, and you now telling me that he performed at the Wish Bus, I'm not even surprised. I'm like, well, yeah, of course, he should perform there. Why
yeah,
wouldn't he? Right? I mean, he's got
yeah,
skills. It's just a matter
yeah.
of does he want to play there or does he, or he doesn't want to. It's just
I mean, like,
that's just a question. It's up to him.
I mean, Green Day, they've sold millions of records and have made tons of money off their songs. And what, they play like three or four power chords. I mean, Jong would like blow them all out of the water if it's just guitar playing
Exactly.
that's involved. So yeah, I think he's, in terms of that. But the thing with Jong though, he's like a renaissance guy. He's skilled in a lot of things. He knows about, he's well read. He's a techie dude. He's into programming and all that stuff. He invests his money in Bitcoin. He's a great guitar player. So we don't really know which potential he's trying to, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to maximize amongst those choices. I mean, he's like blessed to have so many options of where to really excel or where his heart, you know, takes him. But what about us? Like for example, you're you're a teacher, you were a sales guy, you're multidimensional too. But I think it's radio. That's the one that you probably, if you could choose to be, exponentially successful in any field that you specialize in, I would say it's broadcasting or teaching. I mean, did you
Yeah.
like have higher aspirations? What
Okay.
was it for
Here's the
you?
thing. I don't make excuses for myself, right? Like me, I'm not in that business anymore because I am just not right now. And we are doing this, and this is like anybody can do this. What we do
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now, a lot of millions of people are doing this. So I mean, it's not
yeah.
really special, right?
In
So
fact,
here's
that's
the
why we're
thing.
doing it.
Yeah, because it's not special. Like anybody can do it.
It's like,
Like
'cause everyone's doing it. Yeah,
anybody who has a computer, who can afford a mic, and who can
who
afford a
talks a lot.
subscription to StreamYard, they can do whatever. Yeah. So it's but with me, it was like, yeah, I mean, we had that chance, and even Patrick saying, man, imagine if you guys went to Manila, you're probably you're probably a celebrity right now or something. But here's the thing, yeah, if we did, that would have probably happened. I keep saying that to my wife, like, yeah, I mean, if I went there, of course I would probably be, or you for that matter, if we did venture there. I mean, it's possible, right? And if we keep on
Yeah,
practicing, I mean, it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of you know a lot of guts as well to to be in communication, in the communication business or broadcasting business. I mean, being a radio DJ or a radio personality is about communication. And while we were doing our shows, we communicated um, very well what we wanted to communicate with the people that um, that we had on our show, our audience for that matter. We catered to
hmm,
them, and we did that effectively. And it was so much fun. It was fun for you. It was fun for me. Everybody had
yeah.
fun. So we,
And
we
and you
could
have
have
to
reached that
think,
potential. Yeah, but then now I'm like, that was all gone. And I was like, well, me and I'm still confident up to now. I always tell my wife, like, if we did, like, we can compete with anybody. We are entertaining as those other guys are. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, just give us the
Yeah.
right materials, give us a
Dude, come
platform.
on, what are you talking about? We're just as entertaining as those guys are. Those guys were not entertaining. They had
All right,
guests for
okay,
crying
see?
out
Well,
loud.
you have a
Your
point. You
co-host
have
is
a
Maui
point.
Taylor. Your guest is Maria Ozawa. What are you talking about? I mean, they're banking on their guests. People listen to them because they have, you know, Ellen Adarna, talking about sex. I mean, come on, right? We never got that break. Who did we have? Gab, right? I mean,
True.
nothing wrong with Gab,
True.
but I'm just saying he's not really like the sexiest person in the
Yeah, but
world. I mean, we,
true,
we
true,
didn't have to
right? So
rely on
so we could
celebrity. We
have,
didn't
we
have we
could
didn't
have,
have
but the thing is, it doesn't discount our talents as radio personalities. Maybe now I'm a bit rusty. I've been talking to one of my coworkers who's an English. Her position is English activity. I know. EAS means English activity. Wow, what do you call those people?
dude. If you can't
English
remember what their
assistant.
title is, it's not worth
Yes, whatever.
remembering.
So
He's an
whatever,
employee.
right?
That's what he is.
So, right, she's Japanese. She lived in the States like you. She's actually your age, and she lived there for about what 6, 7 years, and that was her formative years
About
as
the same.
well.
It's about the same
So
time as yeah, same
yeah,
duration.
yeah, yeah. She lived in Nebraska, and she has that American accent. So we kind of like we could talk deeply about stuff. And I was like telling her like, oh man, I feel so rusty now. It's because I'm so confident that because it's what I wanted to be able to work in a job where I would be able to communicate in English, and I am doing that because I am an English teacher. So every time I go to school, I only talk English. I don't see any Filipinos there, so I would talk to my Japanese HRTs, homeroom teachers there. I would talk to them in English. The EASs who could speak really good English, I would talk to them in English. So I thought I was like, right, it's helping me out, as a radio person who was in a radio station where we only speak English. I was like, all right, wow, it's really helping me out. But then I found out while we're doing the show, it's not the same because back then when we were doing a radio show, it was I had a different routine. I have a different uh I prepare myself differently. I have
Mhm,
preparations to make before doing
mhm,
the show. You know what I'm saying? Every time we have a
mhm,
show, the day before that, I would read a lot of stuff. I would just go on the internet, or not even the internet. Sometimes I would just like grab books and I would just start reading, and I would read
mhm,
aloud. I would try to get more vocabularies and whatnot. I would try to,
mhm,
there's a lot of practicing going on before going on the show, and some lines that I wanted to use. I'm like, all right, maybe I can use this line later. I'm gonna practice it, and I can use it as a punchline, and
mhm.
that really helped me out. So that helped out at least my career and our show. I mean, you like lived in the States your teenage life, so you have that advantage, and you have that exposure. So it's kind of
And
different.
we're
Me,
both
I have to
and we're both
struggle,
talkative guys. We're both talkative
right?
guys. You know what I'm saying? I think that helped a lot too. I mean, you obviously you have that desire to communicate. It starts from there. That's the core of it. You know,
Okay, now my
you have the
question
desire
is,
to communicate.
what has this something to do with fate or free
I knew you should have just gone with comedy movies. No, but I mean,
will?
dude, it does.
Man,
It does because
oh, I
it
thought
does
I was
because you
gonna
know
have a
what?
heart attack with that laugh. Holy
No,
shit!
no, it does because you know what? I think about that stuff. I'm like, I've always been thinking in my head. It's like, okay, we judge people, right? We judge people. We make conclusions about people. Make assumptions about people. Like for example, if you see somebody who's like, just he's a bum. He's not doing anything. We're all saying sayang. What a waste. He has all the potential in the world. But who are we to say that he is like the happiest person in the world in that state? That's actually, like, come on, what's her name? What's her name? Jeez. Jake Cyrus now. What was her name before?
Charisse Pempenko.
Charisse Pempenko. She gave up that level of fame. I mean, she was with Oprah. She was with Celine Dion. She was on Glee. She was, because she needed to be Jake Cyrus because that's for her. That was probably her dream ever since she was little. It probably wasn't even Oprah. It probably wasn't even. But for the people viewing from the outside, we're like, sayang. Why did she have to? She could have just written the bus to fame,
But that's irrelevant
and
then. That's irrelevant because
yeah,
we're just the one. We're the people who are saying that, but she's not.
yes,
She's not even thinking about it. If she's happy
yes,
right now, then whatever, right?
exactly, exactly. But what? Yeah, but exactly. But what I'm saying is, it's we're whatever we're thinking and whatever people are saying, whatever the opinions of people are, it does have an effect on her because she's a celebrity and she draws her fame and her wealth and her, success from the audience. And if the audience, refuses to support her, then she's not gonna have a career anymore. But that's, like I said, that's the different kind of success. That's the success that we have anointed to her. But her success is probably like being able to live, and walk as the person that she's always been, at least
Yeah,
in her
as
words,
Jake
ever since she was
Cyrus.
little, as Jake Cyrus, and not being with Oprah. Not so. I
For her,
said, that's what I'm saying.
that's reaching her full potential. Being able to do
Yeah,
that for her, that is like, oh, I reach my full potential now because
exactly,
I'm actually Jake
exactly,
Cyrus now. I am not
exactly.
Sharice Pentenko anymore.
It's like people telling me, "Hey, anak ka ng abogado, anak ka ng, well, you should have been a lawyer. You could have, you talk a lot, you like to argue, you can defend yourself well, whatever, whatever." And I'm
But
like,
then you didn't
yeah,
want to be a lawyer.
I
Okay, here's the
probably could
thing.
have like, yeah, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't be happy. You know what I'm saying? It's not the thing for me.
no, you're probably gonna be happy, but you just don't want it. Like, come on, if you're
No,
a
I'm not gonna be
really
happy.
good lawyer, no, well, you're saying that now. No, who knows? You're saying like, no, I'm not gonna be happy.
Dude,
See, you should say that
dude,
you might, you
have you
cannot.
seen Liar Liar? Have you seen Liar Liar? Did
Oh,
you
that's a
see
movie,
his kid's
man.
face when he did
Come on,
not
that's a
show up
movie.
at his kid's birthday
All right,
because he was
okay.
in bed
Here's
with
the
his
thing.
boss?
Here's the thing. If you're a really, really good lawyer, if you're a celebrated lawyer, that means you'll have a really, really good career, really good
That means
clientele,
people who are
right?
guilty can be set free
No,
because you're
I mean
that
that's
good.
irrelevant. That's your
I'm
job.
just kidding.
That's your
I'm just
job.
kidding.
That's irrelevant, right? If you're a lawyer, that's irrelevant. That's your job. That's why you're a lawyer. If you have to acquit people who are guilty, well, that's your job. I mean, it would be a shame if you didn't, because you have to give them the best defense, and that's irrelevant. All right. So what I'm saying is, if you became a lawyer, so you're talking about like, oh, a lot of people are telling you that, oh, sayang, right? But and then you're saying like, no, I wouldn't be like, really? But who? Okay, here's the thing: if you're a really good lawyer, a celebrated lawyer, you'll have a good clientele. That means you'll have a lot of money, right? And you'll live comfortably,
I wouldn't be happy.
and you'll have
I can
all the
tell you right
watches
now, I
in the
wouldn't be
world.
happy.
Oh, come
I
on,
can tell you, I
you'll have
wouldn't be happy.
all
You know
you'll
why?
have all the watches in
I
the
wouldn't be happy.
world.
You know why?
You'll have all
I
the games in
don't.
the world.
I'm not very good in toxic environments. And when you're dealing with people who are, asking you for help because it's their freedom that's on the
Yeah, but
line here.
okay, so that's the thing.
It's
So
justice that has to be. I can't carry that level of
all right,
responsibility on
so
my
okay,
shoulders. I
that's the
mean, I'm
thing.
just
So
come
that
on.
means so you don't want it. So you do not want it.
I don't want it. I
All
don't
right.
want it.
So that
It's
see.
not the kind of
So yeah. So
environment that I
the
want to be in.
argument ends there because you don't want it. But
I
that's
don't want
that's
it.
the thing because you don't want it. You're saying like, oh, because I don't want it, right? Because you don't want it. Period.
You know what I want?
But
I've
if you
always
did,
wanted to be a comic book artist. That's my
okay,
lifelong
right?
dream, a
But
comic
then
book artist. I
again,
don't even know why
again,
I'm in radio.
right? Because okay, yeah, but my point being is, if you wanted to be a lawyer, then you can be, and you can probably be happy, but you didn't want it. So
Yeah,
whatever
my
they
wife's a
say,
nurse, but she's baking. That's her. You know what I'm saying? It's like she studied all these years for, and spent all that money for the tuition to be a registered nurse, and she is a nurse, and she did work as a nurse, um, and a clinical instructor for a while, but it's nothing compared to how happy and fulfilled she is with
all right.
baking.
So
Which,
that's why
yeah,
all the other things are irrelevant. That's what I'm trying to say. Is you don't have to be what other people wants you to be or whatever other people think that you you like you could have reached your full potential if you did certain things. That's not the
mm-hmm,
case here. But
mm-hmm,
if you did, like I said, if you did, then who knows, right? If you wanted it, but you didn't want it. Like if your wife wanted to
yeah,
be a nurse, and if your wife really wanted to leave and go to Canada or the United States, that probably happened. But maybe she didn't really want it that bad. That's my
yeah,
point. So it's more of like whatever other people say, it's irrelevant, right? So for
yeah.
example, that lawyer thing, like me, I cannot tell. Like I would probably not be happy, like being a, but no, but I couldn't tell. Like me, I would say I can't tell because before I also wanted to be a lawyer, but it's because my father can't send me to law school. I was like, all right, fine, I don't have to. Like, well, why would I force it? I mean, my parents couldn't afford it. I wouldn't have the time, so I'll just do something else.
But you
But
had a desire, right?
well, yeah, because it's about communication as well. You read stuff, you apply all of these things, you fight for justice,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah, whatever. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
a lawyer. I mean, it's also a good way of living.
Yeah.
I mean, being a lawyer is good. I mean, I'm not saying that being a lawyer is not good. I mean, it's nice, right? But I didn't
Yeah.
become one.
It's just
And
not
if
for
I
me. It's
Yeah, I mean, it didn't happen for me, but if it did
I know,
happen,
it's
I
essential in
know,
society, but
yeah, it's more of like if you became a lawyer, you would be a damn good lawyer. That's what I'm trying to say. If I became a lawyer, I
nah,
would be a
man.
damn good lawyer. Well, all right,
You
okay,
would
but all
be.
right, I can't
You
speak for you, all
dude,
right?
you would be
But I would say
you would
that
be
I
ruthless.
can be.
You
I can
you
be.
would be ruthless, dude. You'd be ruthless. I would be like, eh, you know, I don't know. I mean, but the thing is,
I
I
don't know,
don't
he's
like.
not.
Yeah, I don't want to. I never want to be in a.
But
Think about
yeah,
this,
because
right?
he didn't want it.
Think
You
about
didn't
this,
want it, right? Okay, because he
dude.
didn't want it in the
Why
first
do
place. Me, I wanted it.
why
I
do we
wanted it.
what why do we love radio? We love radio because it's fun. We get to interact. It's
Right, right,
very laid
right,
back, whatever. Now, what do we not love about it, or not enjoy too much about it? The drama, the thing when people start fighting or arguing or whatever. Dude, if you're a lawyer, you're in the middle of that. You're smack dab in the middle of that. It's literally this side and that side, and you're like, you got to take a side, and you got to
Well,
like
it's also about
make sure.
compromise too. Most of the time, they just
Oh yeah, you can
compromise
be
in
a
the middle,
mediator.
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
you can. I'm for that, but I'm just like I don't want to like
we
wake up
just
every
watch
day
too
and
much
I
lawyer
mean
movies. I mean, that's not what's really happening, like not
no, no, no,
always.
no, no. I mean, no, 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 because dude, my mom's a lawyer.
Right.
I always hear my mom say things that's like,
Because your mom's passionate.
um, she's very passionate, and my mom has that, she has that killer instinct. And I think you have to have that. Like you have that killer instinct. It's like you have to have that bull in you. And for me, it's I don't have that. I'm not. I can't take myself out of that zone. I'm always kind of
Right. But then I'm
I'm more
also
diplomatic. I'm more of my dad. I'm more of my dad.
okay.
I'm more of like
Right.
I don't want to
So all
argue.
right.
I don't want to
See,
fight.
there you go. Because
Diplomat maybe.
even in the beginning, like you said, you didn't want to be a lawyer. So all right. Okay. So maybe
Yeah.
you wouldn't
Diplomat
like.
maybe because I can be
All right. So
friends with anyone. I can
all right.
literally
Right
be
then.
friends with anyone. I
So
can be
yeah,
friends
my
with
point
anyone.
being is like if we wanted to be something, um, we could have been if we really want it bad. But like for example, me, I didn't really want it bad. I could have like yeah worked and then went to law school, supported myself.
It's
I
not
could be
too
one of
late,
those
Ice.
stories. But
I know
no,
people
see,
who are like in
that's
their
what I'm saying.
70s
No,
and are still lawyers. It's not too late, man.
no,
You can still be a
what?
lawyer.
Just to make myself feel good about things, like because oh now I'm finally but no, no. If you're a
No.
lawyer, you should be a lawyer. You should
So
practice being a lawyer, and
so at the
that's the
end you
whole
can
point of
say
being a
it's
lawyer.
destiny. It's fate.
No,
You were meant to be a lawyer.
I
But
am at
remember, you have
peace
to pass the
with me
bar.
not being a
You have to
lawyer.
pass the bar.
That's fine. No, I'm not. I'm like I've already given it up. Like a long time ago, I'm at peace with myself. I will not become a lawyer, and I'm okay with it. But then I would always tell people like if I became one, come on. I mean, like I've had this conversation with some friends. Like
Dude,
I think I got this
you'd be
from somebody.
ruthless, man.
Um, a friend who's a lawyer now. We were like arguing about stuff, and she pulled this card like, "No, I'm a lawyer, and you're not." And that pissed me off. I was like, "All right, cool. You want to go there?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. If well, you're lucky I'm not a lawyer. That I did not become one. Because if I became one, I would have kicked your ass anytime, anywhere. I'm confident with that. Like, yeah, all the people now who are lawyers can tell me like, no, you talk to yeah, I'm not a lawyer. You can kick my ass right now. But if I became one, I can kick your ass anytime.
So what
Because I
superpowers did this person acquire when they became a lawyer? Like what superhuman
nothing.
abilities
No,
did they all of a sudden was it's
I know
knowledge, man. It's all knowledge.
it's
I mean,
knowledge,
it's
of
just
course,
knowledge.
right? Like
It's just
I
a
can
title we
study,
put upon ourselves because we
right?
acquired this amount of knowledge. Like a
And how you
doctor does not
communicate that knowledge that you have
like
in your head
a
really
doctor
plays
doesn't have an
a
extra
really big
arm,
part.
right? If
Exactly,
you
right?
become a doctor, you don't grow an extra arm. If
Right.
you don't have super powerful eyesight
So
because
I
you
hate
passed
people
the
who
med,
do that. Like, I'm like this
right?
and you're
It's
like
just
no. So
knowledge.
you wanna go there? I've never pulled that card ever. Even with, like
You should
even
have
if I'm
you should
like
have said
if
I'm media. Show the media.
right? Yeah. I go to places, I host stuff and whatever. I never tell people to shut up because they can't talk. I never do that. Because that's not a nice thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
the only guy who can talk here. I have the mic. F you, F you, F that. Like, you listen to me. You don't have the right to talk because you can't talk. Like, I don't say
Yeah.
that. Why would you say that to other people? Like, no, I'm Lama. It was just like a friendly banter about stuff. And I don't know, he probably was losing the argument and just like pull that card like, I'm a lawyer, you're not. Well, F you. But I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I just like chilled. But
Well, all those years that you were smoking cigarettes and staying up late at a 24-hour chowking, reading, memorizing, all those cases and whatever, you were partying and having fun.
exactly,
I mean,
right?
think about it,
Because I
right?
didn't want
I
it.
mean,
So that's just the
that's
thing.
right. This
So
title that
I
you
don't
have
feel bad,
now.
right? Whatever, right?
Yeah, we're
So
good. We're all good. I mean,
it's like,
it's all good. It's all good.
all
Like
right,
I said,
okay. Let's talk about.
free will.
Let's read
Free will is
some
telling my wife
some
I
messages.
want PS5. Destiny is when my wife says no.
That's a good
That's
point,
what.
Julius. I yeah, I think that's really true. Your free will is you tell your wife that you want a PS5, and destiny comes down on you when she says no. Boom, there you go. Staying up late at a 24-hour chow king. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I did that
Yeah.
even if I wasn't studying law at some point in my life.
Yeah, come to think of it, yeah. I mean, how many
You
okay,
also
here you
did
know
it.
what we do? You know what we do when we're at a 24-hour chowking, like it's around 3 a.m. and we're drunk and we're like eating, the laureate or whatever the heck it is we're eating. We always pay attention to the people that come in, especially those couples that come in. We're like, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. 9 times out of 10, baliktad yung damit. Clothes are inside out. Galing ng motel, man. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Is it
or they slept over
urban
at a boyfriend's
legend
house
or
or
like
whatever.
a myth?
Dude, I'm not kidding. This was back then. This was back then where boyfriend, girlfriends, usually if they're out at that time of the night, it's because like, nagsinungaling sa parents and actually spending the night at the boyfriend's house or checked in or motel, whatever, right? But I mean, it's just the conclusion that we come to
Why?
when we see a
Why
girl and
would
her
their clothes
shirt's like
be
inside
inside
out.
out?
Oh, because they took it off and then they put it back on and nalimpungatan dahil bibili lang ng pagkain na nagutom after, 2 rounds of action, whatever the heck
Who
it
does
was,
that? I've
but
never done that. Have you done
no, but
that?
that's just, dude, you were probably one of those guys. You're just oblivious that it was inside out,
All right. Yeah, you have a point though.
right?
Right.
You were, right? You were probably just oblivious because like it's 3 a.m. Couple these people get hungry, and I was like, I would sit there and I was like, we would always pay attention. It's like there's always a girl that would come in or a guy that would come in. Yung tag ng shirt nakalabas, the shirt's inside out because when you take it off and then you put it back on,
All right.
whatever.
Right.
We just assume that they
Mhm.
could just be siblings for all we know, but dirty
Right.
minds, when you're
Mhm.
intoxicated. Patrick
Uh,
says, or at least pre-pandemic. What is he talking? Oh, what is this? Chowking? What is he talking
to
about
be
there?
fair, all right, okay. Comp sci degree can also enable you to go abroad. Example, me, ITCS degree is also in demand abroad. All right. Okay. So, Patrick, my question is that how you got to Australia because of your degree? Because you're a comp sci graduate? Is that what it is? Or
No,
is it
man, you took
different?
a plane. You took a plane. That's
Oh,
how you
that's how
got.
you got there. You took a plane. Are you sure you didn't swim? I thought you swam.
Dude, you don't get a free Australia trip when you know, finish comp sci. You have to buy a plane ticket and go there and get a visa. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But Patrick, um, yeah, that's the thing too. It's like starting over for success. Some people actually that's their grail. It's like that's their once they make it overseas, they're good. It's almost like a promise of a better life. Not necessarily happier life. But then again, shouldn't better and happier go together? Okay, that's a good topic too, right? That's a good topic too. Like for example, people who go abroad and work and make more money and live a better life, but then they're not happier because they miss home, they're away from family. Can it still be considered better if they're not happier? Right? Doesn't make
It should
sense,
be
right?
better and
Let's
happier, but you have a point.
right? It's better, but
You
it's
have
not
a point.
happier. So that means even if you improve your status of your life, it's not a guarantee that you'll be happy. So there you go.
You can be happy
There
in
you go.
other ways, but you can still be unhappy in also so many ways. So, for
Yeah.
example, in my case, being here in Japan, I have all the other, advantages of being,
Yeah. First
you know,
world.
being able to live in a developed country. Healthcare is good. I don't have to worry about my kid if, you know, if she gets sick or whatever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she I can take her to the hospital without spending a dime, right? Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what she has, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not added stress to me if,
Yeah.
you know, she gets sick or whatever, because up to 15 it's all free, right? Doctors fee
Wow.
are free, medicines are free, so that's stress free for me up to the age of 15. But then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, one of the perks, right? School is free, textbooks are free. The only thing that you need to buy are like, you know, some notebooks, but it's not even like you have a notebook for each subject. It's not even like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like how we study at home. So they get those workbooks and they
So
write on their
everything's
workbooks.
like better, right? Everything's
Yeah.
better from the
So
infrastructure to the insurance to the
right, right. All the
healthcare.
toilets are great. Like I don't have to worry about her telling me that Papa I want to poo poo or Papa I want to pee or whatever, because all the toilets are great. Like I don't have to, you know, find a nice or clean toilet for her, because every toilet here is clean. And
Mm-hmm.
so the one of the advantages, right? So many other things. But then if you really think about it overall, we're lacking family here, right? I don't have my sister, I don't have my mom, I don't have my brother. She doesn't have a cousin, so she can't like see them every weekend like I used to. So
Yeah.
that's a different experience for her. And for me, that
Yeah.
was happy time. I may not have all those other advantages right now, like, you know, clean
Mm-hmm.
toilets. I mean, dude, you got to know how to hold things down there. You know what I'm saying? You have got to wait
Mm-hmm.
until you get home if you want to poo poo
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like if you get sick, it's terrible because sometimes you just go to the pharmacy and guess what what medicine you need, because you know
Yeah.
you never know what you have. Is it allergy or is it actual cold? So those things. But then,
Yeah.
like I said, right? It's you have advantages and disadvantages, and you just learn how to accept it and go with it. Because you're already like, for example, I'm already here. I get the iPhones that I want every 2 years. If I'm there, I couldn't. I would say I couldn't. I'm confident. I know that I can't. But because I'm here, I
You
can.
can. You can
But
get the
still,
Jordans
I'm
if they're on
lonely.
sale, right?
Yeah, but I'm very lonely in a way that I can't do all the other stuff that I used to do back then. Friday nights,
Mm-hmm.
Saturday nights, it's every week is a fun week because you always have the Fridays and the Saturdays, and you even have the Wednesdays too. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine the happy times that we have in a week. If we want to, we can go out on a Wednesday. It would be a happy time if you go to during our time it was like MTS or whatever. You can find a live band air, you know, like establishment. You know, there would be people playing music, and there would be people drinking. It's ladies' night out. There would be ladies out there. There would be a lot of people just talking, and you
Mm-hmm.
feel that reality. It's like, oh, there's a lot of people all the time. On a
And
Friday, same thing.
you're
Saturday, same
somebody
thing.
here. You're. I mean, I'm not saying you're nobody there, but like that's how I. That's how I felt when I went to the States back in 2016. It's like you just feel so irrelevant. You're like you go there, you're irrelevant. You're like you're literally you go to a mall. I mean, you're in the same level as yeah. I mean, there's not even a level. Like a person who's working the cash register, the person mopping the floor, he's not gonna look beyond beyond you because they're mopping the floor. Like you're all on the same level. I mean, unlike in the Philippines, where I'm not saying like we're power tripping here. I'm just saying here, it's like because it's home. It's home. We're not minorities here. You have to understand that we're not minorities here. Sometimes we forget that nakatira next states. You live in the states. You speak English well. You're Americanized already. You're Westernized already. You think, but you know what? You go to their house and you think you belong, but then you look at the group picture and you're like the only brown kid there, or you're like that Asian dude or that Mexican looking kid. I mean, they look at you differently. It's like you inviting like an Indian kid in your house, except it's just like that. You're never gonna be able to fake that, or you're never gonna be able to learn that. There are things that when you live in a foreign country, that's why Filipinos like to hang out with Filipinos, and they have their Filipino communities because no matter how unless you were born there and you were raised there. Like snow would be super uber comfortable in Japan because that's the world
No, I
that
think
is going on.
the way I say it, it has something to do with culture. Like they don't have that here. They don't have that, like what we have. Like, oh, I'm someone, like they know that no, everyone's a nobody here. Even
Yeah,
Japanese people, they're nobody. They don't want to be
yeah,
somebody. That's how the culture is
yeah,
here. Nobody wants to be
yeah.
somebody. Oh, you're really no, 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 I'm not. I'm not. Like, oh, you really have a nice house. No, 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 I don't. I don't. I
So
don't.
so guys like us
So,
are like, what's the point? So what's the point?
what's the point?
Die
What's the
already!
point of
Die
driving a freaking
already!
Lexus?
Just die already!
That's how they are
What's the,
here. So I don't really
exactly why?
feel that bad because like everybody's in the same boat. It's not just me. Like I don't know how it is in the States. I wouldn't pretend that
Walay
I know
patasang
because
ihi there, right?
yes. So because it's a different country, so I don't know the culture there. So if you're saying that it's then it's probably that. Here it's I don't feel that way exactly. Although I have an American friend who would say that he feels like what did he say? Like Friends. It was something about Friends. I can't really remember what exactly did we talk about. But it's about Friends, and he felt like in Japan, it's kind of like because you're a foreigner, you really can't have friends. But I was like, well, I look around, and even Japanese people don't have friends. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah,
culture is like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like us, it's me and Yoda. We go to basketball together because we're friends. They're
yeah,
not
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not my friends because of basketball, but we're doing basketball together because we're
Yes, yes,
friends.
yes,
Here
yes,
it's
yes.
different. In Japan,
You're
it's like,
not teammates
oh,
only. Yeah,
yeah.
I,
I
I
go to
get
my
you. I get you. Yeah, yeah,
basketball and I call them my basketball friends. We're friends in basketball.
yeah,
Our
yeah, yeah, yeah,
relationship is confined in basketball. Out of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
basketball, I don't see them except for
yeah,
those, traditional like year-end parties or whatever. We would have that sometimes. But it's not like Yoda, I can play basketball with him. I can go to the bar with him. I can go to Starbucks with him. Like you, we can do things. We can do barbecue together. We can have our kids play together. We can go to Starbucks. We can go to streets. We can do things. We're not just coworkers. We're also friends. We're friends at work and we're also friends outside. That's the
yeah,
relationship. I think that's our culture at
yeah,
least. And I introduce you to my friends. I introduce you to my family. But here
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
Japan, they don't do that. It's not just because I'm a foreigner, but it's just how they do things. So even with Japanese to Japanese, they don't do that. So when I said to
yeah,
my friend who's Japanese, one time when we were at a restaurant and she was talking to a friend who she bumped into at the restaurant, and when that friend left, I asked her, "Why did you not introduce me to your friend?" And she said, "Well, we don't do that here. That's not how we do things here." I was like, "Really?"
yeah.
Because in the Philippines, that would be really rude. If I'm with my friend, then I bump into another friend, and if I did not introduce them, that would be really, really rude.
You know, if I did that here, the reason would be I forgot the name. I forgot that.
Yeah,
I
that
forgot
too,
that
right?
person. I don't forgot her name. I
Then,
was just
you,
talking to
then
her. Just
yeah, but then that would be like that is because that person is not really your friend. But then that's what I was saying. So it's not just because I'm a foreigner, but because that's how they do things here. Even
yeah, yeah,
spouses do not go to their husbands or wives like work. They
yeah.
never
I get
been
you.
there. They don't know who they
I get.
work with, right? So it's not
Yeah,
like it's only me. So I was like, well, I don't feel exactly the way my American friend does because me, I'm like I saw it. That's how they are to each other. So that's just the downside here in Japan. You can't have friends. They don't have friends. It's not
yeah,
a lot of fun, but it's secured. You know, it's secured in a lot of ways, right? It's convenient in a lot of ways.
yeah.
But I mean, I couldn't say if they're living happy lives.
That's why
I
they
don't
have
know.
a
I
high
mean,
suicide rate there, right? They
right?
have a high.
Well, yeah.
That's why it's like harakiri,
So
whatever it is you
so
call it.
me, I would just like, well, Philippines is still a happy place, but in the Philippines, it's just happy, and once you get sick, boom, you die. That's it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
pray that you don't get sick. All right. just
yeah,
just
yeah,
pray to God, whoever you pray to, that you don't get sick, because once you get sick, that's
yeah,
the end of it. My dad lived a happy life. He was happy up to the point he got sick. Then that was like all downhill from there, and he died, right?
yeah,
But me,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm comfortable here, but dude, the things that I have to go through, like even like last year, I no no this year when I told you about that mental stress that I had, and I'm having mental issues, emotional issues. It's because
Triggered by
like
COVID, right? Triggered
yeah
by the
yeah
pandemic.
when the pandemic hit, because dude, I didn't expect that. I mean, back then I would go home once or twice a year. That helped me a lot. So that what kept me sane. But then when the pandemic hit, I didn't see any family and I was like stuck here and I couldn't even go out. There are no bars, there are no clubs, there are no events. Boom.
And you've been how many years, Ice? 14 years, 15 years?
14 years, 14 years.
Oh my god. That's yeah.
Like back
You
then,
know
we
that
always
song
have something planned.
was it Sunscreen? Sunscreen that says
Yes, yes.
stay in California but leave once you start feeling soft. Go
Mm.
to New York but leave
Leave
once you
before it
start
makes you
feeling you
soft.
get hard.
Yeah.
It makes you
Leave
hard.
before it
Yeah,
makes you
right? It's
hard.
like
Yeah.
yeah. So, like your living space, your environment, it brings out a certain side of you. And if it's not a happy place that you're in, I don't know, man. It's either you learn to deal with it and think it gets better, but you're actually just getting used to it. And it's molding you into a person that can adapt to that place. And you've been 14 years is a long time, dude. I mean, I don't, I'd love to visit Japan. I'm not staying there for 14 years. You know what I'm saying? You're on mute. You're muted.
If I could go home once a year, it wouldn't be that bad. Because I would be at my
Refreshed.
where I'm
Yeah.
comfortable. It
Yeah.
feels I mean, I'll be home.
Yeah.
Home is where the heart is, right? So if
Yeah. Yeah.
I get home and I see you guys, I see Yoda, I see Flip Mode, it's kind of like, oh, I'm back to my old self. Like, whoo, let's go to Starbucks. And we can be
Yeah.
loud
Yeah.
there, we can talk, we
Yeah.
can be, we can be, I don't know, we can be
And
rowdy and
and I
whatever.
know
Nobody cares.
I know exactly how you look like and sound like when it's like the day before you go back to Japan. I
Yeah,
know you're
right.
always like, oh man, it's like you're always like balik na po sa Japan. Balik na po galing ka." And you always have that look on your face, and you're always like you're not looking forward to it. I mean, and most
No,
people are
I'm
be like,
not.
why are we
No,
not
I'm
looking
not.
forward to it? It's Japan, Japan. But they don't walk in your shoes, and
I've
I
learned how
totally
to
get it.
live with it. And I love this as my second home. I can tell that I would rather be nowhere else if I can choose another country to live in. Yeah, Japan is a really nice country because it's a good balance for me as a Filipino. I can come here and like boom, I can be, I can live how they live, then go home, then like, whoa, yeah, I'm back. The
Go
Filipino
nuts,
in me
yeah,
comes out, right? Yeah, so
yeah,
it's a good
yeah,
balance. But right now it's because of the pandemic, like it's hard to find that balance. You can't be
yeah,
rowdy, you can't be, you can't be yourself. And back then,
yeah,
we always have something planned. I mean, you don't have things planned because we don't plan things. We just bump into people, and all of a sudden, there's an instant party. It doesn't happen here.
yeah,
You don't bump into something or somebody, and all right, let's go drinking. That doesn't
yeah, yeah.
happen
Let's
here.
watch a movie.
It
Yeah,
has to be
yeah, yeah. In the
planned, right?
in the Philippines, if you plan it, it doesn't happen. That's the
Yeah,
thing in the Philippines. If you plan it, it doesn't happen.
it doesn't
That's just how
happen,
it is, right?
right?
It's like
You just go to the
you
mall,
wait
you
for
bump into
somebody.
somebody. Hey, where are you going? Are you busy today? Like, no, not really. Let's go grab a
Sabay-sabay.
drink. Sabay-sabay, let's eat. Right? So that's how it doesn't happen here.
Asa
And
ka
I
ugma?
miss
Matugog
that.
Manila. Sabay ko.
Yes. Yeah, it happened to me. Just talking to a friend, like, dude, we're
Nagpatuli
going
na
to
ka?
Manila next
Wala
week.
pa. Uy, ako po, wala po.
Patulita. It happened. I mean, it's not like, not like tomorrow, but I remember that particular time. Me and my friend, me and Yoda, right? And Kmart and
Yeah.
Odell, they were like, hey, we're going to Manila next week. You want to come? We found a budget seat, whatever. Like, how much is it?
And
It's
you all
like
went to
this.
Manila. And
Yeah,
that's
and
when
I
you went
went
to
to,
Enchanted Kingdom, right? That's the one when you
yeah,
went
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
Enchanted Kingdom.
yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah, you
time.
guys went to Enchanted Kingdom. Yeah, I
I
remember
went to Yoda. You know what his plan was? I went to him, hey, Yoda, they're going to Manila next week. They found a budget, whatever. You need to decide now in an hour because it might, like the website might, whatever, it might
expired.
close
Yeah,
or,
expired. Yeah.
so you have to decide now. And he was like, what? How much is it? Then I told him, I was like, oh man, I saw this really nice watch at a pawn shop. It's a Tag Heuer, and it's the same
You bought
amount
it.
that we need to go to Manila. And she was
Oh
like,
crap.
and he was like, oh man, which really, dude,
And he's a
that
watch
watch can
guy.
wait. Yeah, and I
He's a
was like,
watch guy. Yeah, yeah.
I told him you can get a watch anytime, man. This experience is once in a lifetime. I mean, this like we have free lodging there because Riddle's there and they have this condominium
Yeah.
there. It was already free, so it was offered to us. Like, all right, so the only thing that we need is the money to get there, and the money that we need to spend while we were in Manila. And my aunt was already there in Manila, so I was like, we could get more money there from my aunt. So it should be great. And he was like, and I
Yeah.
said, you have 30 minutes. Come on, you have to decide now. I was like, all right, fine, all right, let's go. So he ended up not buying the watch. He really wanted that watch, and we
See, you can't
went
do that in
there.
Japan. You cannot outtalk
You
somebody
can't
of
do
their
that.
purchases, right? Like,
Yes, you cannot do that. Yeah, and nobody would offer you like, hey, let's go there and let's stay at my. That doesn't happen. They don't offer you stuff here. Dude, I can
Yeah.
see my neighbors talking outside their house and they've been there for about an hour and it's freaking freezing. I'm like, why don't you just invite that person? Because that person don't want to invite that person because in her head, if I invite her, she wouldn't even come in. So it's like it worked both ways. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't invite
Yeah.
you because I know you would always refuse to come in my house. So me, the one who's like, who's like,
Dude,
I'm,
you know
it's my house.
why? You
Why?
know why they would not um they wouldn't go in someone's house when they're invited in. Ha- Haven't you been watching all these like Japanese porn movies? It's always like
No.
somebody being invited in their apartment unit and something
And they're being
crazy happens.
harassed. No, no, I think that's just like, dude, they see their neighbors, they hide. That's what they do here. That's the culture. Whereas with us, we always, hang around outside and like, hey, and if you start talking, if it's more than 5 minutes, like, come on, let's go inside. What are we
Okay,
doing
let's
here?
just put it this way. Let's just put it this way. Filipinos just like not very many Filipinos have something substantial going on in their lives. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
it's something that they can. It's like even if they have a job, like they would like party with you and risk losing that job because they're
I
not even getting
know.
paid that much. You know what I'm
See,
saying? It's like bahala na, boss ko nga, hindi sumisipot. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just that attitude where
that's
it's
where
if
the
it's not
fun
fun.
is. That's
I
where
know,
the
I
fun
know.
is,
We're
right?
always after the
That's
fun.
where
We're always after
exactly.
the
That's where the
fun.
fun is. It never
In the
happens
US.
here. You can
Think
never
about it.
have fun here.
In the US, when somebody walks in a
It's
bar and
right,
gets a drink, it's usually because they have problems, right? They're depressed
right.
or whatever. Filipinos, we drink and we're laughing our asses off. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you even have to drink? You're
No, we
already,
just
you're
yeah,
happy, right?
we're
Yeah,
happy.
because the point. Yeah, because the point of like drinking liquor is like to numb you from the
Right,
emotional
right,
stress,
right,
right?
right, right.
I mean, but it's like that. That's why Americans they live alone. They don't want to stay in their apartment or in their house by themselves with just a dog, thinking about why the wife divorced them, and they're like, going through midlife crisis, and there's no one to even hear them out. So they go to a bar,
Exactly.
order a whiskey, talk to a bartender, and that's it. So that when they get home, they're drunk, they can sleep. But that's why they call it a nightcap. But Filipinos, on the other hand, it's like we always look like we're celebrating something, right?
Right.
Everybody's just like laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
But
Uy,
then
nagbulag si
Dodong
Kuano.
one,
Ano? Tara, celebrate. Inom
Dodong
pa.
one is
Right?
job. Dodong one is jobless. The other one is like owes money. The other, I mean, we all have our issues, but we don't wallow
Right.
in it. We don't wallow in it.
That's the beauty of it,
Filipinos are
right?
not
We
struggling.
celebrate everything. Oh, he just got divorced. Let's get together. This is a really good time to get together. All right. We can laugh at him,
Yeah,
with him. All right.
yeah.
And
It's
make
like a
him feel
friend of
good.
mine. I'm not gonna mention him, but you know him. I have a friend who because his wife works abroad. She's a nurse in New York, and I think they were staying in New Jersey, but she's a nurse in New York, so she's making good money. But he opts to stay here because I have a business here, and he just like goes to the states from time to time. And I told him, "Why don't you just stay there, dude? I mean, like you're in New Jersey, you're in the states. You can always go to New York. Your wife works there." And he's like, "Bye. Ang Amerika, maganda lang yan kung nagbabakasyon ka, may pera ka, mag-shopping ka lang. But if you're gonna go there to work, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he's gonna go there and just like go sightseeing all the time. He's gonna go there. Majority of the time he's there. He's working. Like whether you're a dishwasher, whether you're it, it's work. You have to work. You're not going there, to hang out with David Hasselhoff at the beach and see all these ladies. And I think that's the thing that people forget. It's like in the Philippines, it kind of offsets it. Yeah, we work, but it's always an adventure because 80% of your work time is chismis with your workmates talking about, you know what I'm saying? It's like there is no strict standard where if it's work, you cannot laugh, you can't have fun, you can't talk to the technicians, you can't talk to from the security guard to the technician, there's always somebody that will hear you out or tell you a joke or whatever. Whereas in the States, when they work, they work. You know what I'm saying? Like what you said, they're only basketball teammates. They're not friends outside of playing basketball. Same with
You
work.
can
You
rarely
only
find
work.
people who would be like friends. It's really rare in Japan. Like I mean, they're nice people. They're very polite, but you know what I'm saying. Friends,
Yeah.
like friendship. And even in the Philippines, we have like all sorts of like level of friendship, right? Like with Yoda, I'm really really tight with that guy, right? Like now,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him for like years, right? But back then, when I was there, we were like really tight, and
Mm-hmm.
our group, the Killer Bee DJs, we were tight too. Yeah, but we
Yeah.
always have that person like Yoda was always my go-to guy, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, let's go somewhere. Then we, like remember that time when all of us were going through something? I
Yeah.
went through something, Yoda went through something, Joe went through something, you went through something. We were all
Mm-hmm.
together, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yoda wasn't just
Yeah.
my friend; he became your friend too.
I
We were
remember. I
together,
remember that.
right? We were
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
joking around about stuff. We would just like talk shit all the time. We would be at
Yeah. Yeah.
Jikong's. We would be at
No,
wherever,
I don't even like. I
Jikong's,
don't
like
even see him as your
toilets.
friend. I see him as my friend. You know, like if we see him,
Exactly, right?
like we can hang out just us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. That's what. Yeah,
it's different. If it's a
true.
person is just a friend of your friend, is you can't hang out with that person if your friend's
Yeah,
not around. But if you can
right.
hang out with the person even if your friend's not around, that means you're friends also already.
Exactly,
I mean,
right?
like,
So I mean, so
I
that
mean,
that, that kind of like developed into something. You see, like all of us became friends. Like yeah, I've been um I've been with you guys for a while, and Yoda was coming in there, and he became a part of the group. And when we were going through stuff, we were all there. Nixon was there, right? Yoyong
yeah.
was there at some point. Like we would be at places, and we would be having fun. We would be like hearing each other out, and we would talk about like we I mean we're not psychologists or anything, but we could talk our problems. We could talk about our problems, and people could hear you out, and we could
You know
like
what's great?
brainstorm about stuff. Like
You know what's
abay
great
dili ba
about?
kay ang ano ba
I
in
mean,
anin anin ana. Then somebody would say like dili ba kay ani ka to nahitabo kay ko
yeah.
na. So we
And you're
always
not
share
buying any of it.
something.
But you're
Yeah,
not buying any of it. But
but
you
you're
just
just
pretend like
listening. You're
yeah, yeah, yeah,
listening.
tama ba?
Tama na.
He's like,
You just-
yeah, yeah, sure. I'm getting advice from an idiot. You know what I'm
but
saying?
but
It's like,
but you're trying to nitpick too. I mean, well, you have a point. Then he also has a point. You're not
but
buying any of those things, but you try to
but you
decide
know
for
what?
yourself.
That's the thing. The thing here in the Philippines is it's a good place to have problems. You know why? Because just look to your side. There's always a guy with bigger problems. I mean, come on,
Right.
he's pushing a cart for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? He's been driving around trying to get, there's a lot of people can still afford to laugh at. Like I can see people here in the Philippines where if I was in their place, like knowing how weak probably my I don't know my resistance to certain things, I'd be like, man, I'd probably be like jumping off the roof already or something. But this guy, it's like he can't even compare it to anything because he can't feel the discomfort because that's what he does. The only thing he does, he's never felt comfort, so he can't feel the discomfort. I mean, do we not bitch uh bitch around when we're riding in our cars and the air conditioner's not working? Like whenever that happens to me, like, yeah, your car is working, but the air conditioner's not working. Now imagine you in a jeepney where it's never had an air conditioning and you're like with 10 people in that same vehicle
Yeah.
and you're
There's
freaking
another
pumping
jeepney
the
in
brakes
front,
10 times.
smoke,
you're pumping the
and
brakes
the
10
and the
times,
other
wishing it
jeepney
would
in
stop.
front, the other jeepney
I
in
mean,
front's like smoke belching, like that really black smoke coming out of the muffler,
and
and
your
you're
best friend's a
hogging it
good morning
all.
towel and you have money folded on your fingers and you're going around that same route for like the 50th time that day. You know what I'm saying? And it, it's just, and sometimes you get, I mean, imagine, and that guy, when he gets home, what is he doing? He doesn't rest. He will still find time to drink. You know what I'm saying? To sit down with his buddies,
Right.
play the
Yes.
guitar, after a
They
long,
can be
I
Molly
mean,
after, I mean, Molly in a way
he
that,
can,
like they'd be like, they'd be laughing their asses off,
because that's the only
right?
time that they will feel special because the rest of their day they were
Right?
pushed around, they were stepped on, and but when they get home and they drink with their buddies, they're special. It doesn't matter if
True.
whatever their
And
stature is in life. And
we can find fun in all the things that we do,
come on,
even with the tagay stuff, right? You hang out with your friends, then you start, drinking, and you start talking about stuff, and it gets interesting, and
yeah,
somebody forgets to drink the tagay, and it's, I mean, who would get like, bay katong naigi baril sa kanto tong isang semana ba? And you were like, really? What happened? Like, dugay mo kay ni shot niya gibaril. Like, I mean, those stuff that and then like you just like
Raj,
laugh, like, right? I mean, nobody does that here in Japan. Like I can't
Gusto
imagine
kayo
Japanese
mukhang
doing that.
pulutan.
Like,
Gusto kayo mukhang pulutan ba?
kalata ba kapalita ka to nga ba? Nakidunggab ka na kusog daw kay mo kag pulutan. Gihimong
Dude,
pagkaon ng pulutan.
you know what? You know what I was like discussing with my sister when I went to the US and visited them, like after not seeing them for so long. I was like, being there for like the first day when I arrived, I was like telling my sister, you know what I noticed about the big difference here in the States? It's like in the Philippines, 80% of conversations there are nonsense. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It's like
true. True.
it's nonsense. We talk
Of
for the sake
course.
of talking.
Yes.
We talk for the sake of talking.
That's the
We
whole
don't
I think that's the whole
require
point of talking.
yeah, we no, no, but I mean, we don't require any fulfillment or any form of like a learning experience when we converse with people. It like we're like what we see a friend like, "Ba, kita kang Pacquiao?" But it's nonsense. 80% of our conversations here, like I could go through the whole day and not learn
Like
a
I
thing.
said, I miss
Like,
that. I
but
miss that.
like in the states, people will tell you you're stupid or something, or if you can't talk nonsense, man. They'd be like, "What's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah,
what? You're a sports
like
analyst? We're talking boxing here." Because the thing with white people, and I don't sound racist here, but not white people, but like let's say most foreign people, they're only into usually one or two things. Like unlike a Filipino where he could be a freaking accountant and still talk about boxing like an expert. I mean, we
mhm.
freaking have that lawyer guy being a sports commentator for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
Filipinos are all around. We can talk about boxing. We can talk about, you know, everyone's an expert here on every field. Whereas, like, if you're hanging out with like a foreigner friend and you talk to him, let's say about like guitars, or you talk to him about celebrities, or you talk to him about sports, and he's just like a computer geek. That's all he knows. Like my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, like she's into football, American football, everything about the NFL she knows. So you sit with him, he'll talk about football, but he doesn't know squat about basketball. Like he probably doesn't even know which team LeBron James is playing for now, or he probably doesn't even, know. That probably doesn't even know, Miguel Cotto is or whatever. Unlike a Filipino, we're so well versed in so many things, like jack of all trades, master of none. That's why Filipinos are so easy to converse with. I can walk up to security guard and I know that he knows about the Pacquiao fight. 99.9% of the time I can talk to the plumber and I'm pretty sure he knows about Ivana Alawi. You can't pull stuff like that as conversation starters with people in foreign countries because they totally will look at you with a blank face and not know what you're talking about. And because we assume that people will just like talk to you and have small talk for the sake of talking. No, they'd be like, "You stupid? What the hell are you talking about?" They'd look at you funny if you start a conversation and they're not into that stuff or they don't know that because we're
Yeah, I
so used
pity
to
those people.
Filipinos.
People who don't do small talk, I pity those
I do,
people. Like, oh man,
I know, I
how
do
sad your
too.
life is. How
I
how
do
sad your
too.
life is.
I do too. It's like you don't even bother to accommodate my petty conversation. Like
Right? Yeah.
Filipinos, we all
Like, how
accommodate. We
serious are you?
always
Like, are you running a country or something?
I know exactly. I know. It's like, or at least learn something else. Like if you're gonna be into
Right.
computers, or if you're gonna be into like these nature trippers, these guys who go to like rock climbing and stuff. Dude, those people don't know anything else. I'm pretty sure. They, you talk to them about rock climbing. That's it. That's their world. Whereas Filipinos, even Manny Pacquiao plays basketball. He's run for
He's a
politics. I mean,
professional basketball player. What are you talking about? He plays for the PBA.
he's a billiards guy. He has movies. You know what I'm saying? And yet
He's a
he's an
movie actor. He's a senator. He's he's a professional basketball player.
don't give him any more ideas. Don't give him any more ideas, man. Don't give him any more. I feel like
That guy is dude. It's probably
he's the
the goat.
epitome of a
He's
Filipino.
probably the goat
The,
in boxing.
the epitome of Filipino. You know what makes him different though? Is that he actually succeeds in those endeavors. Whereas most Filipinos don't. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like,
mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like most Filipinos don't because we don't focus on one thing. And that's what I notice about foreign people, most foreign folks, is that their mind can only focus on one thing because they're usually alone. So like if let's say I learned to play the guitar, I'm sitting there playing the guitar and that's it. I don't have another friend coming in teaching me how to play basketball. I don't have another friend coming in telling me, it's just me with my guitar and I'm like totally stuck with that instrument for the rest of my because I,
Right. That's true.
that's why
Because
that's
they
why
have
people
a
just
different because they have different dynamics there. Like I said, right? Like basketball friends, we're friends because I see them at basketball. It's not because like I have a friend and we go to basketball together. It's not. It's that's not the case. With us, you don't even like basketball. I mean, playing basketball. You know, like you like to play games, like NBA games, but playing basketball itself, like the actual basketball, you don't like it. But then
I know.
I remember you would always come with us and play with us. I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
like to you, it's too much of a hassle. Like, holy crap! All right, I'll play with you guys. Whatever. All right,
I
Joe's
know. I'm.
playing. I can
It is
bring
too
Brad
much of
though.
it's
Right?
it is too much of a hassle. Like I don't get like all my friends play basketball, like Slawa, Woodridge. All my friends have scheduled basketball nights, and like I go with them, and I'm like on the floor for like 5 minutes, and now
Right?
I have to change my shirt. I have to have
Right.
what I'm saying is like I had
But still,
to
you go,
change
right?
whatever.
Still,
It's like
you go.
yeah, because of the
You did that
conversations I have when I'm sitting on the
exactly because
bench.
you're looking
You know what I'm
after.
saying?
You're looking forward after the game. It's not the game itself,
Yeah.
but after the game, we're gonna go somewhere. We're gonna
Yes.
probably
Yes.
hang out and whatever. Because see, that's
Yeah.
our dynamics, and that's what I
Yeah.
miss. Like here, it's yeah, I love this place. I mean, no doubt. But then I also need that
Yeah.
balance, which is the Philippines and the people that I know
Yeah.
there. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of things have changed since I moved here, but still, I mean, when I get home, I mean, I still love the people that I
Our greatest
that I used to
asset,
hang
it's
out
the
with,
people. That's it.
right?
It's the people. That's the greatest
The
asset of the
Pinoys. I
Philippines and
mean,
the Filipinos. The Pinoys.
Pinoys are
We're
Pinoys.
we're incredible, man. I mean, I've had foreigners like probably get so confused that like for example, you're like a radio DJ. You probably would say, okay, I'm a broadcaster. Like if you make a friend here who's a foreigner and he meets you and you go, okay, I'm a broadcaster, and then he sees you play basketball and you're really good. So he'd be like, "What the heck are you really? Are you know what I'm saying? What are you? Are you a DJ or are you a basketball player?"
You haven't
And
seen
then
me
he hears you
box yet.
and then he hears you sing at a video. He hears you sing at a video, and he's like, "Holy crap! You can carry a tune. What the heck is wrong with you people? Like Filipinos, we take it for granted. We really take it for granted. But
We do, we do.
you know, whereas
I
in
mean,
Japan, if
okay.
you're an accountant,
Case
that's
in
it.
point.
You're an accountant. That's it.
Case in point. All right. See, that's why I love Filipinos. No matter what. Sometimes I hate them, but I love them for the most part. All right, I was at the airport, and at the airport, you always spot who the Filipinos are with those big boxes and whatever, and they always gather in a group, right? And I was there because I mean, I've already talked to some people there, so we were like in a group and whatever. So we were talking about like the excess baggage, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
did you go excess, whatever, like how much did you pay, blah blah, and we were like, yeah, like this lady said I paid this much, you know this guy said I paid this much. Oh, what did you put in there? Blah blah blah. And like, oh, I only brought this much, or I only put this much in my baggage, whatever. And I said like I didn't even put clothes. I said like I didn't even put a lot of clothes there. I just put some what did I say? Like I think I just put some stuff that I bought, those pasalubongs and whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
still went excess. I said, I mean, I went over, so it's
Mm-hmm.
terrible. And this and this girl, she was like, and I don't think she realized that I was sitting with my wife because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
me and my wife, we don't act like we're couple, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we can be like, oh,
Yeah.
we look like we can be just friends, right? So we were there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she was like, like the ocho and like talking, and she was like giving like, I don't know if it was flirting. It could be just in my head. I don't know. But my wife was like, oh, she
Yeah.
was flirting. But then all of a sudden she was like, ako nga kuya eh, panty lang ang panty lang nasa bag ko, nag-excess pa ako. And she was like looking at me, and I was like, I didn't know how to respond to that. And I was just like, oh, all right. When we were in the plane, my wife was just like, holy crap. Like, I can't see, only Filipinos can pull off a stunt like that. Like, who would say that in a conversation? Ako nga eh,
Exactly,
panty lang nilagay ko sa bag ko, nag-excess pa ako.
dude. uh, that's the thing with the Philippines. It's like if you just recorded the conversations going on, you would never be able to figure out that that's actually an office. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's not like if you recorded conversations, let's say at the New York Stock Exchange, it's a New York Stock Exchange. It's all about numbers, all about whatever stocks. But if you like recorded conversations in the Filipino like office environment, what are people talking about? They're probably talking about merienda. Probably talking about, like pautang, paluwagan. They're probably talking about, whatever. It's rarely do Filipinos really talk about serious stuff. If it's a serious conversation, we're like, we don't want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you took me out of my problem to introduce me to a problem. Because that's the thing. The first response of a Filipino to a problem is to laugh it off, right?
Right.
Whereas if you
Right.
if it's a foreign friend, they'd probably be like, if you told them your problem, they'd probably be like, dude, you have it bad.
Yeah, I
Dude,
know,
you're
right?
seek help. Plumber, okay, plumber.
Okay, let's
All
uh
right.
let's let's read some messages. I asked Patrick a question earlier. The answer is no. I applied for a student visa for a master's degree program, but my CS degree plus my work experience enabled me to apply for a student visa. Student visa is the first step to among many steps to acquire permanent residency here. All right. Okay. So Patrick, that means you're there because you're studying, right? So you're there as a student. But are you there with your wife, or are you there with like by yourself? Okay, Patrick, that's what I envy about Japan. The toilets, of course. Yeah. All right, Rod. Maybe that's a U.S. thing. Here, cultural diversity is embraced and accepted by almost everyone. All right. About maybe because don't you think that maybe because it was in the 80s, that's why it was like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, and the thing is, it's not like
So
they're
maybe now
racist
it's
or anything.
different. Right.
It's just in the U.S. When I was there, I was in high school, junior high school, and that was my world. So I saw it from that perspective. And in the U.S., here's the thing: it's not like in the Philippines where you're popular because you're good looking or you're popular because you're rich, right? In the U.S., it's because you're athletic. They just put a premium in sports. If you want to be popular in high school, freaking play football. That's it. Or be a cheerleader. The stuff that you see in cliche movies about like the jock is popular or whatever. Yeah, that jock he could be poor as a rat, but because he's a good football player and he's wearing the team jacket or he's a team captain, all the girls want to get laid with him because it's just the premium that they have. And that's why in the US, these athletes get paid crazy money. I mean, it's a spectator sport. It's a big business. And I think a lot of the kids in the US, if you just have a hint of athletic talent, you literally will not even consider like, taking academics seriously because you're just going to pursue a career in either the NBA or Major League Baseball or NFL.
NFL.
That's it's crazy. That's the thing in the States. If you want to be popular, join sports. The geeks are
Join
in bands.
sports.
That's the thing. They're in symphony band, they're in marching band. Those are the geeks. I mean, there's like a math group, there's a Spanish club, there's a drama club. Those are the weirdos and the emo kids. It's so true. And I did try out for football. I did try out for basketball. I was just too small. And the other sports are not quite as cool. Like for example, if you play soccer, you're usually with Hispanic kids, so it's not really the popular crowd. But if you want to be with the popular crowd, you play football because it's an event. The parents come to show
You
up
should have
at
tried
the varsity
hockey.
games, the homecoming games. Hockey in Canada, yeah. I mean, in Canada, obviously that's their equivalent to the NFL. But in the US, man, everybody's like you start out. So if you're not athletic, I don't know how you can be popular in some other way because even if you're rich, it's not gonna make you
Right.
popular. Even if you're good looking, it's not gonna make you popular. But if
Mm.
you're in sports,
So
can you
different
imagine
dynamics.
how
Yeah.
much can you just imagine how much the NFL players were, how many women they were getting in high school when they were still playing for their varsity team? I mean, it's that at that early stage in their athletic careers, they're already super uber popular. And now basketball's picking up.
Hmm.
And the NBA is picking up. Like Bronny, LeBron's son,
Hmm.
which is what you're talking about. For him, it's like fate, right? Because he's not really very good, to be honest. Nothing compared to his dad. But because LeBron's his dad, he can't stay away from the spotlight and the comparisons and the expectations. But that might not even be,
But no, but maybe
that
he
might,
really wants to play basketball because he's in there. I mean, look at Michael
yeah.
Jordan's kids. I
Yeah, but they
mean, they
weren't very
play.
good either.
Yeah, so it's I mean, yeah, you can play, but if you're not really that good, then you're not that good. Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, Pacquiao's son, right? Was it Jim Well who's like training? He's
to be a
doing boxing
boxer.
now. Yeah, he's taking it seriously. He was, I think he did some training with Canelo recently. Canelo Alvarez, who's about
All
to
right.
fight Caleb Plant this weekend. I mean, I follow boxing too. See, I'm a typical Filipino. I follow all sports. Plus, I like watches,
Mm.
and I play the guitar, and I play video games, and, and I'm a radio DJ. What the heck? What are we, man? You know what I'm saying?
We're Filipinos.
We're
Ika ang
Filipinos.
Pinoy. Hella
You
Pinoy.
name it, you name it, we do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
All right,
Oh well.
Patrick's okay, a few messages more like plumber and Ivana Alawi in the same sentence seems like a scenario in porn. Do not trigger me because like yeah, we have the internet now. It's not like
Plumbers, plumbers always get the plumbers always get the blame because they're always like,
after this
they're bending, looking under the skirt.
after
They're
this
always
show it
like,
would be like plumber and plumbing scene. Plumber and Mia
invited,
Malkova.
invited to invited to an apartment.
Samantha
Japanese.
Saint and plumber. Holy shit. Anyway, that checks
See,
out,
that's
Rod. Maybe it is different back in the 80s compared to the
yeah.
present.
It was it. I mean,
Could
it's
be.
not. It's
Could be.
not like being racist or anything. It's just that it's just you're not. You're a minority. You know what I'm saying? People look at you. If they don't speak to you first, they would probably assume that you have English as a second language. Especially if your name, like my name's Rod
Or
Rodriguez,
if
right?
they
They
start
probably
talking
think,
to you and they start talking like this, like, good
yeah.
morning. What's your name?
And you're like, dude, I speak better English than you. You know what I'm saying? You saw Karate Kid, right? You saw Karate Kid with
Yeah.
Jaden Smith. He was on the plane and he was like trying to practice his Chinese with this guy right next to him in the plane. And the guy goes, dude, I'm from Detroit. The guy oh, China. Oh, he was like practicing. He was headed to China, right? So he was talking to this Chinese looking guy. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes we forget just because we've lived there long enough, just because we think people see us the way they, no, man. You know what I'm saying? We're still a minority. We
I think
still stand out.
that's the thing
No
too. Like
matter
in
how,
Japan, they don't do
it's not
that to you.
racism. You're just different, you know?
In Japan, they don't do that to you because they don't want to offend anybody. They just don't speak to you that way. They just like speak to you normally. And I'm like, hey, hang on. I cannot understand a word you're saying. I would rather have them like, eto ne, kyo wa. I would rather have them like, all right, I can follow that. All right, cool. But because they don't want to offend you, they just like, kyo ne. And they're like, man, I didn't catch that. Yeah, I understood 50% of that, but you have to speak slower so I can understand everything. But yeah, at least in America, they'd be like, good morning. My name. Where are you from?
Do you speak English? Habla
you
inglés?
do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, we're just that's the thing. It's a painful lesson too when you feel it. My sister felt that. She joined a sorority. When she graduated high school and she went to college, she joined a sorority, and the sorority had a fraternity brothers. Like the male version is the frat, so they're like the sorority brothers were the frat guys, and she dated one of the frat guys, from her sorority group. So the guy, apparently it's a sorority for mostly white folks, like white college students, and she stood out like a sore thumb. And the guy actually broke up with her because the guy felt so bad bringing her to the functions and gatherings, and her feeling out of place because she was the only one who was not a white girlfriend amongst the fraternity brothers, and she felt it. And I asked her about that, like, hey, how come Joe's not coming to the house anymore? She's like, oh, we broke up. I'm like, oh, what happened? It's like, he actually broke up with me. It's like, oh, you hate him? It's like, no, I don't hate him. He actually was, he felt bad that he had to do it because he felt bad for me, even though my sister wasn't complaining because she didn't realize it. She felt like, okay, I can speak English well. I went to high school here. I'm in a sorority. I belong. But apparently, probably her boyfriend would overhear conversations or just could sense that she was not treated the same way as the white girlfriends of the other frat brothers. And, I guess he was a considerate guy for doing that. But my sister did. She went through that. It's like, it's not racism, but it's more of like, it's a club, right? I mean, even clubs have exclusivity, right? You just don't, adhere to the club rules. I don't know what it is, but that was how it was. And I'm not in Australia. People there are more kind of like they live like a bohemian life. A lot of people there are, they're free spirited. uh, Australia is more, they're a lot loose. They don't have like a particular thing that they adhere to. I mean, they play rugby for crying out loud. So it's I'm not saying it's not as refined, but like in the US, they have more of like it's more kind of like they have labels. In Australia, not so much. Because I mean, what about the Aborigines there? You know what I'm saying? They're like the original inhabitants of that place, and I don't know if they're you're right. I don't know if it's like it's their home, but they're not there anymore, basically. But it's like the American Indian situation. So it's like
Yeah.
in the U.S. it's
Same with the
different,
Native
right?
Americans, right?
Yeah, same with the Native
Okay,
Americans.
so I don't know how we got here, but we were talking originally about fate or free will.
It's fate.
But yeah,
It's
as
fate.
free will would have
It's
it.
fate.
No,
It's
see,
fate.
you're saying
See,
fate. No,
we
I
had,
would say as free will would have it,
no, because
we can talk whatever we want to
we
talk about.
started with free will, but we still ended up like what? Okay, what else did we
It's
talk
not
about? We
fate, it's
ended up
free will because that's what we always do.
straying
We
from
don't
the
care.
topic.
Like we always stray because we don't care about the topic. I mean, no matter what, no matter how many times my sister would tell me, stick with the
Okay,
freaking topic, we never do because we do what we want
okay.
to do.
It's like it's like the topic. It's like the topic is like it's nonsense. We literally don't even adhere to it. Like we totally forget it.
We're just
I
baiting
mean, I don't
people.
even
Just
think
come join us and just
I,
we'll talk about something
I don't
else.
even think people take us seriously. I think they'd be like, okay, let's just listen to
Right.
these guys. We don't,
Hanap po ni
that
mga
topic's not gonna be.
clickbaiter. So let's see if they're talking about. You know what? Some people who just like go in and try to look a little bit and like, let's see if they're talking about the topic. Like, see, they're not talking about that. But I knew it.
You know what our problem is. You know what our problem is. This is how shows are usually done. They have scripts or they have bullet points or
Right.
they do research and they're like, okay, this is our topic. They do work on it. They have this thing laid out and then they just present it. So what they are
Right.
presenters. We're not
Right.
presenters. We're not experts on these
Yeah,
particular things.
we're just talkers. We're just like shit
But
talkers. That's what
yeah,
we
we're
are.
just like we're just conversing basically,
I mean,
and
would
you're
you really
included in it.
rather have it this way? Like, okay, Rod. So, what do you think? Is free will better than like
The
fate?
definition of it, yeah, according to the World Health Organization, I mean, no, we're not like that, and we're never gonna be like
Yeah,
that.
I've heard
So
those shows. So actually, here it's blah 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 blah. Shut up! Like,
I hate that. Oh, we have our guest, our speaker from the. Well, I'm like, okay,
let's talk about the
whenever you have,
Inuman last night. Let's talk about that. That's funny. Right? Let's talk about nonsense. I mean, this is like a nonsense. We should change the
you
show.
know,
We should be the
it's like
nonsense show.
somebody should tell people, those people at the end of the day, we all die. All right, you don't take yourself too seriously. It don't matter.
Right.
You
Right.
know, it's like
All right. Okay. Okay. Enough nonsense for today. All right. Okay. That's it.
your intention originally was that so we'll have something serious.
I
You
know.
said you wanted that topic to be something worthwhile.
See, that's what I'm saying. Free will. I thought I want to have this, but no, I mean, fuck that. All right, whatever. Let's just talk about whatever. I mean, because this is how we were, even in the radio days. Remember those days? Like, right, we always stray off because that's what we do. We stray off, but that's what people love because we stray off all the time. Anyway, all right, dude.
Our flaws become our trademark.
True, true. Okay, people, please exercise your free will. All right, exercise your free will. Gab, thanks for joining us. Patrick, um, who was earlier with who was with us earlier? Julius J. Mori Bautista, JJBB. All right, John was with
CJ.
us. CJ,
CJ
of
was
course.
more.
Dexter was with us as well. Milagro si Joe Boy. Di humabol. Hey man, what's up?
No, no, no. No, he's probably gonna show up, but then they were like done already.
Right.
So
All right. Okay. So, guys, we'll see you again next week. Next
yeah.
Saturday. Thanks a lot for joining
Moral of
us.
the story. The moral of the story is go
Is
with free will as long as you don't step on other people's free will.
true, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Just whatever, right? Just do what makes you happy. I mean, the most important person here in the world is you. Make yourself happy, and the people around you will be happy. Because if you're happy, that happiness can be contagious. So be happy. All right. Whatever the case is, be happy. All right. Even if you're like in a really really tight spot, somebody's in a more tighter spot. Just think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I tell myself all the time. Like whenever I feel like buying a new guitar pedal or a video game or whatever, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna spend again. Be happy. Boom. Add to cart.
All right. I mean, whatever floats your boat. I mean, if that's how you see things, right? I mean, right.
Life's too short,
Babe,
dude.
babe, sabi
Life's too
kasi ni
short.
Iceman, sabi kasi ni
Be
Iceman, be
happy.
happy daw. Inad to card ko na. Boyset!
Like I
All right,
said,
anyway.
don't. It doesn't matter. You can't exercise your free will as long as you don't step on other people's free will. Like your
True,
wife
true.
trying to save money.
All right.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay, all
All
right. We'll
right.
see you next week. Thanks a lot for joining us. This has been Iceman.
Rod Rodriguez.
And we are out. Okay, let me do this.